Hey, what's going on, everybody? Quick little disclaimer with this episode. I don't know what happened. The video files got corrupted, so this one's going to be an audio only. I tried every trick in the book that I've learned. I couldn't fix it. If you think you have a fix, you can send my way. Feel free to, and I'll re-upload this episode. But unfortunately, this is audio only. Please listen to the whole thing. I had a great time with my buddy Alejandro. And yeah, enjoy. And sponsor his brand. Two, sponsor High Speed Warrior. It's awesome. 2, 1. What is up, dude?
Nothing much, bro. Same old.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too, bro.
It's been a minute. You're my newest addition to the segment that I call my favorite Kamala Harris supporters. So thank you for coming back on the show.
Yeah, of course, brother. Of course. I'm honored to be here.
No, it's good to see you, man. I've never had these before.
They're good, man. They're good. This is my go-to now. Of course, last time I was here, I got you a Kill Cliff.
Oh, that's good.
But Jocko's
oh, that's really good.
a little more healthier on terms of nutrition. So I decided to roll with these on the subscription. So yeah, Jocko Go. They're pretty good. Different flavors too, man. They got them at a vitamin shop if you want to.
Dude, that's really holy shit.
Yeah, dude.
Because I used to get. Years ago, I got a case of these off Amazon, and it was like a Black Friday sale or some shit. And I think it was like the lemon lime flavored. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was fine. That's really good. Holy fuck.
Yeah, they did something like a year or two ago where they improved the flavor and all that shit too.
Well,
so they experimented with it.
In the off chance these guys see this podcast, fucking sponsor this guy, huh? He's a good salesman. That's fucking good. Holy shit. And it's like, this is chilled, but it's not like, it hasn't been in the fridge for a while. So I'd imagine it being in the fridge is going to taste like way better.
Yes.
Because it tastes great right now. Like, that's fucking fun. I'm putting aside my Miller Lite to have this. This is really good.
Yeah, and you can mix this with your whiskey, your vodka, whatever you want. It tastes good. I know from experience.
That's funny. Yeah, it's interesting, man. We have to go too deep into it, but you're like, as far as like clips go, the only clip on this podcast that's done better than yours is one centered around Ron White. Okay. With a comedian from Austin who already has a big following. People, well, some people are not very much the things I had to say about Djibouti, but that I watch that clip every now and again because you're super well spoken, super well articulated, and I appreciate you coming back, dude.
Thank you for having me again.
And I appreciate you working on the beard.
Yeah, thanks. It's a work in progress, man. It's not like yours.
And
but.
well, we like we were saying a little bit beforehand, we made different life decisions. I turned left, you turned right. And you're looking at your future. I'm not going to try to push you one way or another, but this is what... Now, I don't know if this is a good future, but this is a future. You can turn into a low-level podcaster and want to be stand-up, so who knows?
Don't underestimate yourself, man. You're doing good for yourself.
I appreciate you coming out to Casadas, by the way. You and your lady and your buddies, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm 100% for you, man. I support you all the way. Like we've talked about, I was there for your first comedy show. And
yeah.
That was great, man. That was great, dude. And from that day forward, I'm just like, hey, man, this guy's got potential.
Thanks, dude.
I'm 100% behind you, man. So, yeah, it's my pleasure going over there to support you at these shows, dude.
Was that your first time over Casadas?
That was my second time there.
Okay.
The first time we went to go see, who was it that we went to go see? I don't know if you know Ed Bassmaster.
Yeah, I know the name, but I don't know who the guy is. But
yeah, so we went to go see him for the first time over there at Casadas. And
so is he a stand-up or is he like?
He's not really stand-up, which surprised me when I saw he was coming here. But he's more of a YouTube sensation, like prankster, different personalities kind of deal. So. Yeah, he just runs around. He was actually here when he came here for the show for Quesadas. He pranked the Breaking Bad lady.
I was gonna say my buddy, my buddy Josh Fournier, amazing comedian here in town. Yeah. He had posted a video where they went to the Breaking Bad chick's house, and like that lady is fucking tormented. Like there is something evil inside her that's been brewing.
Yeah.
After just so many people have been tossing perfectly good pizzas. Her fucking ceiling. Now, granted, I've thought about this a little bit more than I probably should have. But, there's a lot of things that people could do to your house in this city, and I think free pizza is a probably decent deal.
Just throw it in the microwave for a little bit. You're good.
That's what I'm fucking saying. As long as there's no bird shit on it, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the amazing people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, they are the original sponsor of this podcast, and I could not be happier to continue to be working with these guys. I get it. It's New Mexico. Everyone loves red, green, both. But this genuinely is my favorite brand of chili here in the state of New Mexico, and I love being able to partner up with these guys. They are absolutely phenomenal. Zane and the rest of the team at Chop Chili do an amazing job running that company, and they make an absolutely phenomenal product. And right now, they are running a very special promotional on their Instagram. Go check them out on Instagram. Go give them a follow. And as they post pictures with the hashtag Where's My Chili Challenge, if you can guess where in New Mexico that picture was taken, you can win not only free red or green chili, but also a free custom t-shirt directly from the company themselves. Again, go check them out on Instagram, give them a follow, check out their hashtag Where's My Chili Challenge. Win yourself some free chili, win yourself some free shirts. They are also available in Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, and a ton of other grocery stores in the state of New Mexico, as well as El Paso, and they are expanding out to West Texas. Again, thank you so much to Zane and the rest of his amazing team over at Chop Chili. Back to the episode. But that's but that's cool, man. That's real. So how the fuck have you been? Like, you're doing a lot of jujitsu, I've noticed, and you're growing your brand. How's life going, dude?
It's good, man. Thanks for asking. Yeah, as you know, I'm going on 2 years jiu-jitsu. I love it, man. Past experience, of course, from wrestling, so that helped a lot. A lot of implementation into the jiu-jitsu that I've been doing. I train at Carlson Gracie Coyote team. Best team in the world, man. I love it. As far as High Speed Warrior, this is yours, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Some new goodies for you.
Oh, shit. Oh, I like the hat.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I dig it.
Yeah,
Ever since I started growing out the hair, it's been a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Because I hate fucking putting product in my hair.
Yeah.
And then, and I'm lazy about it, too. Like, this morning, that's great for a fucking podcast.
Yeah.
This morning, I forgot to replace my fucking, buy a new bottle of hair gel, so I literally cut the motherfucker open and, scraped it with my finger from the side. So, oh shit, this is well fucking made material, dude.
Yeah, man. So,
not to get too much into the minutia, the inside baseball of it, but who does your shit?
So I go for Vista Print. That's one of the companies I go through. So I go through different, through people. For most of the apparel, I go through two sources, like stickers and stuff like that. As one, Ariston Helene Artistry. Escobar.
Yeah. She did my shirts that I was too lazy to sell off. I'll give you one of them before you leave. I got them in my closet.
Sweet.
And then, just too lazy to sell them. And then she did all my stickers.
Okay.
So yeah. She's very talented at what she does.
Yeah. So shout out to them. And then another homie, close friend of mine that I grew up with in high school is Jacob Moldez. He does.
Is this a fucking bookmark?
Yeah, I made this bookmarks, man. The 762 brass. So
that's fucking legit.
Yeah, dude. Figured you like it.
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I'm finishing up Nuclear War. Have you read that?
No, I haven't. But I was gonna say I know you're in the books, man.
So. Really fucking good book by Annie Jacobson. So I'll throw this in there. That's fucking sweet, dude.
Man.
And did she do these as well?
No. So the white sticker. Yeah, she did that one. But I went through Jacob Moldez, a big print company.
Fucking
for the holographic.
Are these for sale on your website?
They are for sale.
Fuck yeah, fucking.
You got the hookup.
That's good shit. Thank you, buddy. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So anyway, you're saying so you go through two different printers for these. One is Aaron and the other one is
Jacob Moldez with Big Print Company.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
is he local too?
Yeah, he's local too.
Legit. All right.
Yeah, as far as the business goes, man, I'm just trying to grow it up. This is my biggest year so far, and every year's been my biggest year so far. So
good.
Making progress, man. Going uphill with it, and
good for you, dude.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes, man. I see. The day that I see people, nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's that fucking... I got a big-ass head, too. I finally grew into it, kind of. But, I got a big-ass head, and that actually fits really well. So, thank you.
High Speed Warrior, baby.
That's actually fucking sick.
Hell yeah, bro.
It's lightweight too.
Yeah.
That's good for the gym.
Yep. It's good for anything and everything.
Yeah, that's good shit, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully, next year will be bigger, and like I said in the last one, hopefully it gets the status of like some grunt style stuff, zero foxtrot shit, you know what I mean? So
I haven't bought a Zero Fox shirt in a long time. They put out funny shit. I always wonder about those companies, like how they get away. I mean, just companies in general, especially like those ones. I wonder how they get away with, because like I've bought shirts from them that are based off of like Doom or based off of like Taxi Driver or stuff like that, and I'm very curious to see how they get away with shit like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The same exact shit, bro. I'm like, how are these guys getting these copyrights because they do a lot of shit like Pulp Fiction, fucking Mario games, things like that. So I'm like, holy shit, dude.
How do you have like a roadmap, or do you have a plan of how you scale your business, how you grow your business? Because and I'm speaking also from personal experience. Like I still don't. It's been 4 years I've been doing this, and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, granted, a lot of that is still, I know I'm not dedicating enough time to it to really sit down and like, okay, these are metrics. These are, where I'm at, is where I've been. And it's still growing, but I feel like it could be growing better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what are you doing to measure your growth in the business? And then how are you like compounding on that? Like, is there a roadmap? Is there a plan? Is it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. So believe it or not, man, when I first started, there was no map or game plan or anything like that. I just
I believe it. I'm that right now. I believe it.
So I just dove right in. I was like so excited to get my company started and trademarked. And then after the first year, after I did my sales and taxes and all that, I looked at the numbers and I'm like, okay, let's develop off of this. What am I going to do this year that's going to progress or advance the sales of what I made last year? I basically go off of the numbers that I make per tax season, right? So I would say that's what my base is. And then I think about what I did the previous year to make those numbers. So like the first year, it was just pretty much just stickers, right? Second year, I added the caps. This would be my third year. I added, and I threw in women's apparel too. So I'm trying to not only categorize to men, but to women too. I'm yet to do kids apparel, but that's going to come next year. But yeah, I was just looking at what's successful, what isn't, what sells, what doesn't. And then I go off the tax season. Okay, this sold this much, this sold this much. What's my clientele looking like for the next season? And then for winter, I did the sweats. So those sold like hotcakes, man. So I'm just putting the pieces together. And as far as like an overall game plan, like a 5-year plan or anything like that, believe it or not, I still don't have one. I'm just developing off of what the numbers I see, and it's just, come and go, that kind of thing. So I'm just pretty much improvising off of what I've done in the previous years. So,
no, I appreciate the honesty, dude, because I'm kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, it is tough to measure, like, not to measure growth, because I mean, especially with how many, like, what services do you use? For your, what website service do you use? What do you use, and then do you use like PayPal for all your payments, or?
So when I first started, I started with Wix.com.
Okay, yeah.
And then I think I used it for like a year, man. And then I discovered Shopify. So Shopify is my go-to. I use everything through that. And then of course through Shopify, you can use, it lets your customers use whatever kind of payment they want. Pretty much everything. So
because all of that will give you metrics and it'll show like where you're going, but it's a matter of like how do you apply, because you can have like all the pieces of the car, but how you put it together and learning how to put it together properly to make the engine run and to make everything work properly, that's a whole other fucking beast.
Yeah, it is.
And like for me, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, because now I'm just like, well, I want the podcast to grow. It's growing, not as much as I'd like it to, but it's still growing. And I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, this is like for sure going to be something that I do long term.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, podcasts in general don't have a ceiling because they're bigger now than they ever have been thanks to the election. But I think that's just an irrefutable fact. But, low-level podcasts, they do tend to have a ceiling somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? And then anything, whether it's a fucking podcast, whether it's a clothing brand, whether it's like not a stage name, but any kind of brand that plays itself off of OnlyFans, has a way lower ceiling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I haven't hit that ceiling yet, so now I'm sitting back like, okay, I know I need to rebrand. And I'm moving here in about a month, so that's a great time to do it. I'll be in a new studio space, whatever that's going to look like. And I'm going to I was having a new setup, so that's a perfect place to launch a fucking rebrand.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, okay, how do I position myself, to where this is going to work out properly, and this is going to be like something that's more of my own. I'm not fucking lampooning anything. I'm not making fun of anything. It's just like, this is my shit, and it's just more marketable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's extreme. Like, this is extremely marketable. It's tough to run a Google ad on this guy. I've done it before.
Yeah.
It's fucking tough to run a Google ad. So now learning how to like restructure and rebrand before has been a whole different fucking beast.
Okay.
So
what do you got in mind for all that?
I have no fucking idea. Like literally, I'm sitting here coming up with names, and like 99% of them are shitty. I think I have one that might work.
Okay.
And I'll tell you when we finish.
Yeah, I was gonna say. If you don't have to reveal it.
I think I have one that might work, because there's some days where I'm sitting. I've only had it for like maybe a week and a half or so.
Okay.
And there's some days where I'll sit with it and I'm like, yeah, that sounds kind of good. That's not too bad. But then there's other days I'm like, that's so fucking cringy, dude. Fuck. But then at the same time, that's cringy as shit too. So what are you gonna fucking do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? It's interesting. There is one question surrounding the military that I was interested in asking you.
Yeah.
So in 2017, Trump gets elected. No, 16. Yeah. Trump gets elected, and there is a huge surge in people joining the military, re-enlisting, staying in. He's like, oh yeah, I fucking love what Trump's doing. I like how he's treating the military. He supports us, all that kind of stuff. Okay, great. And now that he's gotten re-elected, and obviously hasn't been inaugurated yet, and we'll yet to see what his actual politics look like, what his actual foreign policy looks like. We'll see. We have a good feel on how he's going to deal with Ukraine. It's going to be interesting to see how he deals with the Israel and Gaza issues, to put it lightly. But for you, did his re-election, how do I word this? I want to figure out the right way to put it, where it's like, did it give you like a sense of, oh, maybe the military could get, because I mean, like, we were in the same unit, and I was telling this to the guy that I was debating about with the about the election. I think last week when we did the debate.
That was good, by the way.
Thank you. But I was telling him like there was a steep drop off relatively quick when it came to funding from Trump leaving office and Biden getting in. Like, even at the National Guard level, we saw the funding go down. You know what I mean? Like, we felt it. So I wonder now, with him getting reelected, if that's going to encourage people to join or encourage people to stay in. Did his getting reelected have any effect on your decision-making process, about how you see your career in the military, how you see your position, in any kind of way?
Yeah, so it was a sense of relief, man, just because I know a lot of Americans, obviously, because he got reelected, were tired of, everything, military included. So we felt it through the Biden administration, right? And all the policies that they had in place, that was the reason, and we kind of went over it last time, is that the morale wasn't there. The numbers were hurting, recruitment, retention, everything, right? So now that Trump is going to be back in office, I think it'll be a sense of relief for others as well, including potential soldiers, Marines, airmen, whatever, to join. Because, and I was listening to some of your debates and stuff like that. There was, I guess they said that there was people in fact killed while Trump was in office, right?
So I flubbed that.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was rewatching that. Now, granted, again, Buck is great. I love that guy. Great comedian.
Yeah.
But that whole debate was it was a shit show. I mean, it was a shit show. But one thing where I know I flubbed really hard was when I brought that up, and then their retort was, no, there was 60-something killed over 4 years. It's like, okay, yes, that is true. I don't know how I missed this, like, in the moment. And that just shows you how inexperienced I am at doing a debate like that.
Well, I thought it too, so.
But what I missed in the moment was, okay, yeah, they're, like, yes, 60-something people or whatever, or 80-something, whatever the number was in 4 years. But that doesn't mean there wasn't an 18-month period of no one dying. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember when that was getting reported.
Yes.
Like, obviously after the fact because the 18 months had passed.
Yeah.
But I remember when that was getting reported.
Right.
And I don't know how I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
'Cause that's such an obvious answer. It's like, well, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. But anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, so then I was on the same page. I thought the same thing. So now that he's back, I think things are going to ease up a little bit, as we can already see the effect that it's having, right, before he's even in office. As a matter of fact, I also just read that he invited President Jinping into his inauguration too. So if that's going to ease some things up, man, I think it's a good sign for the future. And I think that'll put an ease at whatever's going on internationally. So to come back to your question, I think it'll be improve, once again, boost up morale. I think we'll be a little more at peacetime, and I think recruitment's going to be good for future soldiers, military members, all branches. I think it'll be good.
Well, I remember, like, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, I saw this post, and it was showing a new Army recruitment ad. And it looked like something like right out of the first surge. And the top comment was like, "Oh fuck, they got white dudes back in the recruitment videos. We're going to war."
I saw that. I did see that.
It's like, "Oh fuck, we're going to war."
I did see that. It was like splitting the difference between when we're not at war and then when we're going to war. Yeah.
Well, it's like, because I have an issue, just like with anything else, I have an issue with things when they get politicized and they get blown out of proportion. Like, I truly don't have any issue with gay people being in the military. I don't have an issue with women being in the military. Yeah. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be nice if the biggest issue our military had was that gay people didn't feel comfortable there? Mm-hmm. Like, when you stack it up, like, wouldn't that be nice if that was the biggest issue? If the biggest issue in our military was so big that we had to highlight it in recruitment videos, was that lesbians felt uncomfortable or people with lesbian parents felt uncomfortable in the military. That's an easy-ish issue to take care of.
Yeah.
We got inundated with all those trainings about whether it was like the equity stuff, whether it was the transgender stuff. It was like, if that was the biggest issue in the military, that would be a great military. Mm-hmm. You know what? Because that means there's no fucking black mold in the barracks. That means that there's no shitty food at the that means that DFACs are open regularly. Mm-hmm. That means that soldiers, like active duty soldiers, aren't on fucking have their kids and shit on food stamps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's proper training, there's proper equipment. Like, dude, I'm not ashamed to admit this. You know, one of the biggest reasons I got out of the military?
Tell me.
Is I fucking hated doing night trainings. Not because it was at night. I actually liked it because it was at night because it was a bit cooler. You know what pissed me off? Was wearing these fucking single tube nods that had tens of thousands of hours put through them, and you can't see shit.
Nods are trash.
So then I was like, you know what? I was like, fuck this. So again, like in the beginning, I didn't know a whole lot. I didn't know how to game the system a little bit. So my dumbass would just flip the nod up and just like walk around like that. Like, as shitty vision as it is, but whatever. Like, put your fucking nods down. Like, okay. So then years later, I'm like, okay, so I'm not gonna flip them all the way up. I'm just gonna tilt it. And I'm kind of go cross-eyed a little bit so I can see around the thing. So if it's like right here, I'm just gonna do like that number so I can like see around it and then like see where the fuck I'm going.
Bro.
Because I swear those things were so shitty that if you were looking through them, it's like it ruined your depth perception even more. So then I'm like walking through the fucking desert or the woods, kind of just low stepping, so I don't fucking hit a pothole, so I don't dribble. You gotta pick it up. Like, if I pick it up, I'm gonna fucking eat shit, motherfucker.
Yes, dude. Sometimes you can even see better without the nods.
That's what I'm fucking saying.
Like, I'll just use the moonlight.
For real. Oh yeah, Lord forbid you're wearing nods when there's no moonlight. You're fucked. You might as well be wearing an eye patch that has like green Sharpie on the inside.
Man. Yeah, that gear's trash.
Yeah, so I bring all of that up because, like, imagine if that wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine if that wasn't the fucking issue. Or it just, and then there's just things you could fucking list off with like trading or equipment and nonsense like that. But it is interesting now. I mean, I feel like after this election, it's never going to be dead, but I think the radicalization of social issues is kind of going to start you can already see it kind of taper off a little bit, but it's going to start going down a little bit more, and like the bigger issues are going to take the forefront.
Yeah.
Like it was interesting seeing the how would you put it? I guess like the priority list of things that were taking priority over like real issues. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like suicide was never an issue until someone killed themselves.
Yes.
And then there was like 3 months of like, we have resources, we have this, we have that. And then it was back to fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And there was never really a sustainment of stuff like that. And like, there was never like I remember they had and it's cool that they have the program in general, but it's like they had this thing where it's like hey, if you're needing money or if you're like down on money or you're unemployed, use these services. And like everyone, I know people that applied for it and they just like never heard back about it and they never really got it and they never whatever. And then like when you ask the representatives like, hey, well, who ended up getting the money? They wouldn't tell you. Or they wouldn't tell you if anyone got it in the first place.
Right.
So like it was cool that they have services. But it's like how effective are they really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's no statistics for that.
Yeah, it's just interesting, and I'm interested to see like how retention goes. I hope it goes up, because we do need a military. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, and this is what came up on that debate that I was doing here in the studio. Like, we need weapons, we need aircraft, and they cost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But it would be nice to see, and this is my hope for. And there's a lot of reports going against this, and I hope they're not true, but it's why I really hope about Elon Musk and Vivek coming in and doing their whole Doge department, where I hope they look at the DOD and they look at their budget. It's like, okay, well, maybe, these generals don't need to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe these how would you put it? The people at the very top of the DOD would be making like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and people at the bottom are on fucking food stamps.
Yeah,
it's like any other business structure, but like maybe just reallocate to help. Like, because if you're so concerned about retention at the bottom, pump the money down there so they want to stay in.
Yeah. I'm hoping they'll make some changes with that, because like it's been concerning, man. Just over the past 4 years in general, it's just you saw it, dude. You saw it. It just decreased. As of now, we got another deployment coming up, going to, I don't know if I can say, but we got another deployment coming up, and I know they're doing whatever they can to keep the bodies in. A lot of people are still getting out.
What would keep you in? And I'm not even trying to insinuate that you're trying to leave. I'm not trying to insinuate that you're saying, fuck this, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Because you're a very motivated guy. You love it's very obvious that you love the military and I think, and this is the place that I was at too, where it was like, I loved the idea of the military more than I loved the actual military, like the actual experience of it. You know what I mean? And you're a guy that clearly loves the mirror. You quite literally wear it on your sleeve. You love the military. So I'm not trying to insinuate that you're getting out or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I would also, and I think you would be lying as well if you said that you were 100% motivated to stay in.
Yeah.
So, like, realistically speaking, like, what would keep you in?
I think a big impact would be leadership, man, honestly. And it was a huge topic in the last conversation we had too, the last time I was here. It was leadership. If you remember, I spoke that leadership was a big thing. And it's funny because I was kind of foreshadowing this conversation that leadership has a lot to do with your military career on where you're going to go, right? So if you're going to have shitty leadership, dude, you're going to be a shitty soldier, right?
Well, I mean, the two aren't mutually exclusive. You know what I mean? Like, you can be there are really shitty soldiers in great organizations.
Yes, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like, there are some genuine shitbags under good commanders.
Yes.
That exists. But I understand the point that you're making where if it does trickle down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to get more specific on that, coming into the military. Because of course I told you I had shitty leadership. You know, I didn't have someone who believed in me or whatever, and I was trying to be high speed from the very beginning of my career. So it was just a matter of leadership impacting what I was going to do. Over the last couple of past years, my perspective has kind of changed on some things, right? And when I speak about leadership, we all know what the upper echelon is, right? So it all trickles down all the way to the lowest level, right? The lower enlisted. So over the past couple of years, there's been some events that have affected not only my personal life, but my military career as well. So it just had me thinking and contemplating about what's going to be good for my future. Um, I did intend on going my full 20, but that's yet to be determined now, just for the fact that of the current events that are going on in my personal life, with my military career, the leadership, as I keep bringing up, it has a lot to do with what my future decisions will be in the near future. So
Let's say you did stay in, right? Let's say whether you stay like the enlisted route, whether you went the officer route, or I don't really see you going the warrant officer route. But let's say you, whether it's green or gold, whatever way you decide to go, let's say you were in a position to affect change, and let's be realistic about it, right? Because it was funny, dude. I'm not going to say who, because I'm pretty sure he listens to this podcast, and you tried your best, dude. I genuinely appreciate the conversation me and this guy had. He was a staff sergeant that went, or at maybe like E7, that ended up going warrant officer, and I had known him at the beginning of my 6 years, and towards the end of it, he was like, "Oh, fucking, you're re-enlisting?" I'm like, "No, I'm getting the fuck out, son." And he took 20, 30 minutes to talk to me about it.
yeah,
And God bless him, but one of the things that he brought up is he was like,
to try to keep you in.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and he was like, but if you don't like what's going on around you, you can stay in and make change.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know. Well, because that's a great idea on paper, but the logic falls apart, because then what that means, if you, especially like as I'll just say, because I'll speak to my experience only. But in the New Mexico National Guard, if that logic is true, the way you follow that is then either the organization is so broken that good soldiers can't make change, or the majority of soldiers in power don't want to make change.
Okay.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
That's where that logic has to follow. I don't see any other route that goes. I don't even think that's being pessimistic. I think that's being realistic.
That's a good
right?
way to put it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, if you really follow that logic, it kind of fails.
Yeah.
Right? Or it just takes you to a really dark place.
Yeah.
And neither place is something where you want to go. But let's say, for argument's sake, you were in a position where you could make decent change at a company level. What does soldier care actually mean to you?
So anything to keep these guys, well, speaking from the infantry perspective, man, I couldn't speak for any other MOSs,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what we did. We did infantry shit. And of course, we're supposed to embrace the suck, right? We're supposed to just go out there and fucking suck it up. But to answer your question, as far as providing soldier care, I would do anything to improve morale. I know once you hit a certain rank, man, things start getting a little political, right? You start mingling with whoever. I'm not going to mention certain ranks or names or any of that, but you start getting in this bubble on the upper echelon that we previously spoke about. So I don't know if that's what's affecting or preventing the morale that we need out there in the field. But I would do everything on the opposite end of the spectrum of what's been going on, dude. I mean, good fucking chow, dude, for one thing, right? Out there, the sleep is fucked up. You know that shit. Like when we're on mission or on a weekend drill, you're running off of 3 hours of sleep. I mean,
there were some weekends like that. Well, because I think a lot of the things just to interject a little bit, I think a lot of the things that affected that war in a negative way, obviously, I think a lot of things that affected that were the planning.
Yeah.
I think the planning was just fucked up, and I think it borderlined sometimes at incompetence, where it was like they didn't plan things out properly, and then now everything gets pushed back later into the day.
Yeah.
And then what I really didn't like about it is, and it's easy to say you get treated like a child, but like when you really try to break that down, it's like, okay, it's the like, because we've all either had parents or known people that have the parents where it's like, do what I tell you to do because I said to do it, right? And that's one way to operate. Like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But there's no why behind it. There's no like why are things going well, and then why are things going poorly? And there were a lot of times where you're kind of just sitting there for hours doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like when I tell people that, they don't really believe me. But I'm like, well, I tell people, I'm like, if you want to see the biggest waste of your tax dollars, go to a armory during drill weekend.
Yeah.
And watch the soldiers either sit in the hallways, hide in the locker rooms, or hide in their cars, doing nothing.
Jack shit.
Doing literally nothing. And then it's like tenfold when that stuff happens in the field. And then it's like, oh, we have to get all this training done towards the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, you're going to bed at 2 a.m. And you got to get back up at fucking 7 to wait around till 10. And then it's like, and that's like, I understand you need to wake up early to get everything together, make sure everything's in place so that when the range goes hot, you go. I understand that.
Right. Yeah.
110%. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, they preach accountability and they preach responsibility and owning up to your actions. Like, okay, well, what happened in this equation that led to this day shoot turning into a night shoot? And then, like, you know what I mean?
Yes,
it's like,
I do.
what happened? Like, what was going on when I was sitting on my ass?
Yeah.
Literally when we were throwing rocks at each other.
Yeah.
Or like what the fuck happened?
Yeah. Find some way to be productive, you know. Give us something, right?
Well, it's like, and then it's like, well, how do you define productive? Because rehearsals are productive. Training like that is productive.
Yes.
But when you're having soldiers do things just to kill time, and you're not really moving towards a goal to get the actual, because they have like metrics, like, okay, we have to knock out these things to make this an effective drill weekend, blah, blah, blah.
Check the boxes.
So, right, check the boxes, right? So it's like, okay, I understand that 100%. But is what we're doing right now actually pushing us towards a thing?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, okay. And then, yeah, we'll get into culture later, but like, it's very interesting. And because you said things get political as people rise up, and I would agree with you, but I think a interesting way to look at it too is not necessarily better, but just another interesting way to look at it is things get political, sure. I mean, especially like, and this is not any experience that I had obviously, but it was something that I hear from mentors that I have that made it to the higher echelons, like I said, like the officer route.
Okay.
You make it high enough in the officer route, you stop being a soldier and you become a politician. You know what I mean? And I mean, you see that with just how the organization is ran, and obviously you see that at the very tippy top of the government with like fucking idiots like Milley. Like I mean, let's just be real.
Yeah.
Like the answers that him and the fucking SecDef, what's his name? Oh my goodness, I don't think he's the Secretary of Defense anymore, but the bigger black guy, I forget his name. But I mean, just seeing in their answers when after the Afghan pullout happened, it's like, oh yeah, okay, you're not okay. Especially Milley, it's like, oh, you haven't been a soldier for a long time. You're a politician. That's unfortunate. You're just waiting so you can take the uniform off and get your board seat at Boeing or at Lockheed Martin or at Raytheon. Or okay, we see what this is. All right, sounds good. But anyway, my point is like it becomes political, sure, but the big reason why I got out is it becomes careerist. People protect their careers over helping soldiers.
Yeah, that happens too, for sure.
I mean, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. It wasn't even that big of a deal either. It was just, oh, you think you made the right decision to protect your... Now, granted, he clearly made the right decision because that motherfucker made major pretty quick right after my incident happened. So it was like, okay, you did make the right decision, you fucking asshole.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, like, all right.
I get it, man.
This is how the games are played. All right.
So I'm going to bring up an experience that I had at JRTC recently. For those who don't know what that is, it used to be Fort Polk. I think it's Fort Johnson now. They changed all the base names for whatever fucking reason.
Oh, yeah. What's it now for Fort Bliss?
Dude, I don't even
It's like it's something fucking corny.
I have no
Like
idea.
I don't want to. It's obviously not Fort Freedom, but it sounds like Fort Freedom. It's something. Wait, I forget what it's called. But anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
By the way, I'm still gonna call it Fort Benning. Just throwing that out there.
Benning. That's what it was.
So
It wasn't Bliss. It was Benning that they changed it.
yeah, they changed it to some fucking weird shit. But Fort Benning. I'm sorry. Fort Polk, Fort Johnson. Now we went there to train for JRTC, our annual training, which usually AT lasts about 2 weeks or whatever.
No, the fuck it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, the fuck it doesn't.
We were out there for like a month, man. It was my first time attending JRTC. It's shitty. I've heard stories about it, and those stories were true, if not worse, having gone through the experience myself.
Fort Moore. That's what it's called now.
Fort Moore, yeah.
Benning is now called Fort Moore.
Yeah,
That's so funny. It's named after General Hal Moore. Oh, he actually kind of looks like a badass. I'll take back what I said.
yeah.
Maybe he earned it. Just kidding. Oh, he's got a Purple Heart. Yeah, he earned it. Just kidding. Okay, it's legacy's important, but you know.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the dude from We Were Soldiers. Okay, maybe he earned it. Okay, never mind. I totally take that back.
See, we don't put one and one together. We just talk shit. And it's like...
I'm sorry.
All right. Okay, we'll give him that.
That's fair. Anyway, so you went to JRTC.
Yeah, so we went to JRTC. Again, this is infantry shit. Again, embracing the suck. I'm cool. I'm with it. That's what I've done my entire fucking life, dude. So we go to JRTC. We're on mission. A few weeks in, it was, and you know, there was a lot of ins and outs and kinks and things that I had to work out leading towards GRTC. Like we mentioned, I was highly motivated, and this is part of one of the things that I was talking about that kind of changed my perspective on things, right? And it kind of comes into play what you were saying, these careerists, right? So I experienced this myself. We were, and this is the first time I'm saying this out in public, so we were on the mission, and we were about to step out for a ruck. It was our longest ruck of the mission. It was like 2 a.m. or something like that, man. And we were, we had all our kit, full battle rattle, ruck, assault pack, everything on us, right? They said just chill out by the side of the road and wait till we step off. So we're cool. I'm a team leader as of right now, moving up to squad leader by next month. But this was an event that, like, I wouldn't say traumatized, but it was pretty serious, man. So there's you know, the OCs, right, at that are controlling everything at Fort Johnson.
Yeah.
They're in charge of the mission, everything. They control everything pretty much. They call themselves gods over there, but they're driving the Humvees, keeping track of everything, driving back and forth. It's mission, so lights are off, no lights. If you need to use your red light, use it, but use it for a minimum amount of time. So it's pitch fucking black out there, right? We're staged off the side of the road, and there's a Humvee parked on the road behind us. I hear it idling back there, and then I'm posted on the side of the road. We're all laying down, and my whole squad's right here on the side of me, on the left side of me. So we were there for about a couple minutes, just chilling, laying down, whatever. And I hear another Humvee. I'm like, okay, cool, Humvee. I hear this one idling. Okay, cool. And thank God I pay attention to my fucking surroundings, bro, because this is about to blow your fucking mind.
I feel like I know where this is going. Oh, fuck.
So we're on the side of the road, and I hear the second Humvee approaching, and I'm like, hey, what is that, dude? That doesn't sound right. There's not supposed to be Humvees on the side of the fucking road. Turns out an OC is driving it, and because all lights are off, they got fucking chem lights on their headlights, glow sticks for civilians if they don't know what chem lights are.
Wait, back up. I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
So again, for people that didn't really pick it up, so OCs are basically like, imagine if you had for a training exercise, and obviously what they're doing, a ruck march is just a long fucking walk with a lot of gear, and it's meant to build your, really it's, physical endurance, but it's really meant to build your mental endurance. That's the whole point of it. Mm-hmm. Like, can you just keep going when everything sucks and everything hurts and whatever?
Yeah.
And And I think maybe we can get into this later, maybe, but there's a solid argument for and against ruck marches. But I think it's good for mental endurance.
Yeah.
So for this training event, right? Let's call it that. OCs are basically like referees. I think that's a good way to put it, right?
Yeah, that's a good
They're
way
like
to put it.
referees. They're there to make sure that everyone is safe. They're there to make sure that everyone is following the rules, that there's no fouls happening.
Exactly.
Right? That everything is running smoothly and you're getting the absolute most out of your training without hurting the soldiers involved.
That's a perfect way to put it.
That a decent way to put it? Okay, continue.
Active duty dudes. So the OC.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good point too. These are all active. So these are people that so National Guard, they get a lot of shit because they're weekend warriors, do it once a month, 2 weeks out of the year, whatever.
Yeah.
But these are dudes that do this every day. Every day is an exaggeration, but this is their full-time job.
Right.
Like when people like you have an idea of like a soldier's a soldier, they go and do their thing, they're at their base, whatever. But no, there's people who get orders to like, they go to recruiting, they go to drill sergeant school and become drill sergeants for a tour, right, for like 3 to 4 years, or they get stationed somewhere to be OC. Like
Exactly.
that is their whole thing is to do this. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Like their job is to do this thing.
Yeah.
That's not like they just got done being like a radio operator during the day and at night they go be no, their whole thing
Yes.
is soldier safety
Yes.
during training.
Yes.
Whole thing.
That's
like
it.
there's schools for it, there's trainings for it, I'm pretty sure you have to be certified to be an OC. Like
Yeah,
there's
they call all the shots.
you're supposed to do that. So when you're saying that there are no lights,
Yeah.
it makes sense for the soldiers, right? In the environment of training,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But they're driving around in Humvees with their headlights off,
Yeah. No lights.
and their idea of replacement for that, a substitute for headlights, are glow sticks.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And
Okay.
yeah.
I just
And
okay.
those shitty nods that you were talking about earlier, they wear that shit to drive around with their Humvees. So
There is, and then even to drive around at night with nods, which it is possible. People do it all the time. Now, granted, people are more successful at it when they have like dual tubes, when they have like
Yeah.
quad tubes, like the SF guys do.
Yeah.
And like, they're more successful at that. But like people still get certified and people are still successful at driving at night with just a single tube night vision device.
yeah.
Just fuck. Continue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's trash, man. So I hear this second Humvee engine approaching, and it all happened so quick, dude, in a matter of seconds. I hear that fucker approaching, and I turn around, dude, and the grill is literally like a couple of feet from my fucking face, dude. So as loud as I could, I said, "Oh shit!" I push whoever's on my left out of the way to warn them what the fuck is happening. Dude, and again, I'm in full battle rattle. Everything's on me. Ruck, assault pack. I'm carrying like what, 80 to 100 pounds on me.
I was
right
gonna
now
say
on
a
the
good
side
amount
the
of gear.
road.
Yeah.
I barely had enough time to roll over, dude. The fucking grill clipped my helmet, bro. Fuck. If I had not paid attention, heard the engine coming, or rolled or moved or said anything, I wouldn't be here talking to you today, dude.
You have 100% VA disability is what you'd have.
I'd be 6 feet under right now, dude.
Oh, how fast do you think they were going?
So that's probably what saved me, is that they weren't driving that fast. But for that shit to clip my helmet and me move right in the nick of time, dude, not only myself, but these guys could have potentially been injured too, right?
Right.
So I would say he was going 5 miles per hour, tops. So that happened. I said, "Oh shit!" Push this guy out of the way. One of the sergeants is like, "Whoa, whoa!" Once he heard me say, "Oh shit," they all turn around and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" We got an NCO and a SIR. They're like, "Stop, stop, 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 stop!" He comes to a direct stop, and we're like, I was shaking with fucking anger, dude. I almost died, bro. And I was like, "Oh shit!" So I backed up a little bit, right? And the NCO and the sir that saw it, that was like, stop, whatever. They go up to the driver window, like, what the fuck, dude? You did not see a fucking a line of soldiers on the floor? And I didn't hear the conversation. This is what they told me afterwards, because I was just trying to catch myself, man. I was like, fuck, bro. Afterwards, they told me that the conversation consisted of something like, oh, I'm just trying to catch up with my dudes over there. That was it. And they didn't take down his name. They didn't take down the Humvee number. No disciplinary action. And I think
I have to play devil's advocate. Do you know that for a fact?
yeah. So that was the exact conversation that they had, and I heard it from both.
Well, the disciplinary
From the
action
sir.
too. The lack
Yeah.
of. You know that for a fact?
Yes, I do know that for a fact because I told who I needed to tell the next day. And we know, there's a certain group of OCs that are with you the entire time, right?
Yeah.
Given they switch every other day, right, to rest cycles or whatever, but it's the same set of OCs. So we knew who it was. And the sir and the NCO looked at him dead in the face and knew who it was, and nothing happened out of it. And I told, again, I'm not going to say names, but I told who I needed to tell at the level that they were at what happened, because that person didn't witness it. So I was like, if you can, put a word to whoever's in charge of all that shit, that they almost just fucking killed a soldier, that would be nice. Because, again, and the way I look at it, man, I think that what ticked me off the most is, I might be exaggerating or being a little overly dramatic, right? But I think if I had not been paying attention, two things could have happened. One, I would have been a fucking vegetable. Or two, again, I would be 6 feet deep, leaving my 2 children fatherless, right?
Well, because how many stories do you hear about where there's training accidents
Yes.
and soldiers get killed? And
Yes.
it doesn't just happen at the conventional army, because that's what you guys were effectively. It was conventional army. You're on Title 10 orders. It's AT,
Yes.
right? So it happens at the active duty level. But even it was like 2 years ago where maybe longer than 2 years, maybe 2 to 3 years ago. I remember I was still in, but there was an incident where a ranger got shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
During a training incident. It happens at the SF level. It happens at the SEAL level.
It happens all the time.
At every single level of the military, whether it's high level tier 1 operators all the way down to conventional Army, conventional Navy, Marine, whatever.
Yeah.
Training accidents happen all the fucking time.
Yes. So I was just in awe, man, in shock. And then, like I said, this is one of the things that put into perspective of, I might just be a number to these guys, man. It was some serious thought after that. I spoke about it with my wife, and she's like, fuck, that's wild. Like, holy shit, thank God you're alive. I'm like, yes, thank God I'm alive. So it just, that's where the leadership play comes into part. And it's just like, I don't know if it's worth it anymore. So I'm kind of on the brink of, maybe it's not worth going for the whole 20 years, putting myself into this environment. And again, I might be a little dramatic about it.
Well, no, because and for people listening to, I know you know this, but for people listening, when stuff like that happens, when there's a training incident, in theory, maybe not stop training altogether, but training comes to a halt. Mm-hmm. For at least the next 24 hours, everything stops.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to do an investigation. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to, okay, so what led to this happening? Top down, was the training, because they spend so much time in these fucking meetings, supposedly, laying out what training's supposed to look like. They're laying out timelines, laying out equipment. You're supposed to be inspecting all the equipment. You're supposed they're supposed to be PCSing Humvees, where it's okay, does everything from the starter to the tires inflated to the head. I mean, they weren't using headlights, but do the fucking headlights work? Do the brakes work?
Yeah.
Everything is supposed to be up to snuff so that when you use it during training, it's going to mitigate hazards, mitigating as much danger as possible so that safety is ensured. And then when you start investigating stuff like this that happens, it's supposed to be, okay, who was the driver? Who was the assistant driver? How did both of you guys miss this? Mm-hmm. Were you intoxicated? Were you sleep deprived? Mm-hmm. Someone, he's out now so I can say his name. He was a bit of a, let's say, quirky guy, let's put it that way, but Sullivan, right?
Oh, yeah.
I remember he used to tell us this all the time, how he straight up refused to be a driver after a certain point. Because at one time in the and they forced him to start driving again. But there was a period of time during his career where he refused to be a driver because when he was in the Marines, he crashed a vehicle and injured some Marines because he agreed to drive when he was sleep deprived.
Right, exactly.
Because they forced him to do it. He caved to the pressure and he did it. And he was running off of like 20 something hours of no sleep. And then he was at night driving through nods and he crashed the vehicle.
Yep.
Right. So, and then he got investigated for it, rightfully so. So all of these things are supposed to be, there are systems in place when these things happen to figure out, all right, what happened, what led to it, how do we stop it from happening again?
Yes.
And the fact that none of that happened, there was no disciplinary measures, there was no whatever, at least to your knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is going on? And I struggle with the argument back and forth of how hard, obviously this is not an element of this story, but like how hard does training need to be to produce the correct soldiers? Because it's like on the one hand, especially with infantry, right? Because on the one hand, war doesn't have rules. Well, it has rules, but war does not have rules, right? Geneva Convention exists. Rules of engagement exist. War is ugly. War is evil. It's bad.
Yeah.
War is objectively the worst thing that can happen. Objectively, it is the worst outcome of any scenario that clearly went wrong, right?
Yeah.
And you need to be training as hard as possible so that you don't die.
Yeah.
Just to put it blatantly, right? Put it bluntly. So training needs to be tough. Embrace the suck, whatever, right? And I agree with that.
Yeah.
No matter how much I fucking hated training sometimes and I bitched and complained about training. Even I like grew to love some of it, right? Like I genuinely love doing live fires and these longer exercises. I complained a lot, but I fucking loved it at the end, right? There was a part of me that really liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. But then on the other hand, it's like, all right, where does it stop being shitty and it becomes negligent? Or it becomes shitty just to be shitty? Now, obviously, this instance is negligence, right? But there was, I remember getting told, like, I got out of a AT because I had my hernia surgery. And they still tried to make me go.
Of course.
And I was like, no. I literally had to get doctor's notes from the VA, a separate practitioner, and then medics in our unit going from the line, quote unquote. We were a line unit, not like a line unit.
Yeah.
But like the company level medic, the little specialist or whatever.
Yeah.
The company, and I'm Doc Morales, you're the shit, by the way. I love that guy to death.
Yeah.
But,
Good guy.
but I had to get notes from him going all the way up to the fucking commander of the medical unit saying, hey, this dude just had invasive surgery. He can't lift more than 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? It go through all of that.
Yeah.
And so I remember hearing this story about how the long story short was the company got left out in the desert with fucking no water, no sunshade, when it's like 109 degrees or some shit, 105 degrees, wherever y'all were training at, where you had no water next to no food. Somebody wrecked a Humvee and then wrecked a medical vehicle. So there was no, like, if someone did get hurt, there was no way to get you guys out.
Yeah.
And then there was no communications. There was no radios. So like someone did get hurt. Like
someone did get hurt.
Like something happened to somebody's leg or some shit.
Yeah, it was a knee or something like that.
Yeah, and they couldn't like walk. So they couldn't move them out. They had to move them out, and you're at like at the side of a fucking mountain or some shit.
Yeah.
Or a giant ass hill in the desert.
Yes, I remember. This like 3-4 years ago, something like
that.
Yeah.
And so I remember hearing about this, and I was like, that fucking sucks. Because then it's like, okay, training should be hard. Training should be tough. Training should suck. I get that. But that's on the level of negligence.
Yes.
And then apparently, like, the command drove up, saw you guys on the side of the hill, and then drove away, knowing you had no water, knowing you guys had to like ration out food, like beyond what because there's rations and stuff like that, and I get that, but it's like rationing out the rations.
Yeah, with water too, we had to split water within squads
because you were running because there's no water sources out there, so it was like you only get like this much a day. It's like,
yeah, dude, I remember that year. Yeah. That's probably one of the worst ones, but no, GRTC definitely topped that year for sure.
Yeah, almost getting ran over will do that to you. Oh my God.
Yeah, dude. So I'll leave it at that. Obviously, you learn, you live, and you learn. So, I think to circle back around to the initial question that you had of what would make me stay in, I think leadership. So we'll just leave it at that, man. We'll see what they can do with me.
Leadership meaning people that generally give a fuck if someone else gets ran over or not. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So I don't want to be that fucking shitbag. Obviously, soldier care is huge, but I don't want to be an NCO that does not give a fuck about their soldiers. You know.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books, a lot about leadership, a lot of Jocko shit, man, and I'm just trying to instill the guys that I have under me that, you know, and I try to be as motivating as I can, man. It's all about motivation and discipline, and with the little morale that we have, I try to keep it going for us, at least within our squad. And with what's going on right now, we're having a lot of changes, combining companies, people moving here, people moving there. So next month I'll be getting promoted to staff sergeant. So I'll be assigned to a squad, I was told, or I'll be assigned to a squad leader slot. So as of whoever's under me, team leaders and Joe's, I'm going to do my best in that position for the time being to keep them as motivated as possible, keep a straight head on them, because again, leadership is the fucking key, bro. And I want to instill into them what I didn't get coming into the military, right? And a lot of these guys are going to be fresh, man. A lot of E1s, E2s and shit. So you got to set a good example for these guys and show them that not everybody is a fucking shitty NCO. So
Well, and then because that's incumbent upon you to do that, and you have to be almost like a looking glass into the future of like, hey, this is what your future could look like, and you have to be a positive example of that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a goal that they can achieve.
Yeah.
Because if they just see like some guy, regardless of what you do, and now you have a pretty good job on the civilian side of things. But regardless of what your occupation is outside of the military, while you have the uniform on, you need to be an example of what can be achieved. Yeah. And you want to be an example of something that's worth achieving.
Yeah.
You just don't want to be a guy that loves to throw on the uniform. You throw on the rank and you become just this power-hungry, egotistical...
Yeah, fuck that.
Like just some guy that likes to wield power around for 48 to 72 hours. Mm-hmm. And it's like, all right, see you next month.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you don't want to be that. And then, because then you're effectively making these guys realize that, oh, this is going to be a shitty 6 years. Oh, no. Yeah. Like, I remember, like, very clearly, I'm sure they're still in, so I'm not going to talk shit. But, like, and not even talking shit, 'cause it's just the truth, but I'm not going to, like, use names. But, like, I remember when we were working up towards the deployment, we were at Fort Bliss, a good old Range 62.
Yeah.
And I remember we were sitting on the bleachers. We weren't doing anything. We were just waiting for the go-ahead to start doing lanes. We were just sitting there, like, hanging out, just talking shit, all the Joes, whatever.
Yeah.
And these two guys, it's fucking Beavis and Butthead, walk over, an E6 and an E3, or E5, that always ran around together, and the 5 pretty much held his pocket.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking
yes,
about.
I do.
And so they roll up, and then they just, literally no fucking reason, just start screaming at the group of us. And and obviously, and the funny thing is, like, because I juxtapose it to my time at NIMI, right? Because there, it's like, they're all kids, we're all stupid, whatever. And it's like, okay, they're also going through their learning curves, and I didn't know how to, I finally figured out how to treat people properly around my freshman year of college.
Okay.
Like back end of senior year into my freshman year of college. And what really helps me was I got put in charge as a high schooler. I got put in charge of college kids.
Okay.
And that was a learning curve.
I'm sure.
Just regular ass grown, they're 18, 19, but legal adults coming in from the regular world that weren't in this environment. And I had to figure out how to talk to them properly. I had to figure out how to command, quote unquote, them properly.
Yeah.
That was a huge learning curve, and I didn't really figure it out until like the back end of my senior year of high school going into college. Then I kind of found my groove a little bit. Well, if I'm being realistic, probably was my end of my freshman year of college.
Okay.
That's when I really figured it out. And I was like, oh, yeah, you treat them like humans. It doesn't matter that you're above them.
Yeah.
And that seems like a very obvious thing, but to learn that at 19, or well, no, I was 18 going, to learn that at 18 going on 19. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, that's how you treat people.
Right.
Like, be stern with people, be hard on people if you have to, but generally speaking, you need to treat them like adults. Well, you always need to treat them like humans.
Yeah.
Treat them like adults.
Yeah.
But you don't treat them like children. You don't treat them like slaves, like subservient, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, okay, got it. But then you look at this environment, and we're all grown adults.
Yeah.
Some of these guys that are E3s, E4s, E5s, whatever. Like, I know E5's not a Joe, but like a couple of the E5s over there, we're fucking. These are like 30-year-old men.
Yeah.
They have wives, they have families, they have careers. Like, these are grown fucking men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So these two jackasses roll up, start screaming and hollering and making us do fucking push-ups and fucking air squats and all this nonsense.
Yes.
And my squad leader at the time, I think he got out. I don't know. I don't want to. Well, no, he did the right thing. So my squad leader, Thornock, he comes up. Love that guy to death.
Yeah. Good.
Me and him had a great conversation overseas about like my future in the military.
Okay.
Like, I fucking love that dude. Him and Cunningham rolled up.
Okay.
And obviously, and I really regret how I handled a certain. I'm not gonna go into it, but I really regret how I handled a certain interaction with Cunningham during MOB. Like, I have very few regrets in life, but I really regret how I handled that, and I attribute that just to fucking just immaturity and ignorance and just real emotional immaturity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, but you know how Cunningham is.
Yeah.
He's still in. He's a good guy. He's got a couple of screws loose, but when you start learning about where he came from, you're like, oh yeah, I'm surprised you're as well put together as you are. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Good for you. And he's a deadly fucking dude, but great guy.
Yeah.
Anyway. So they roll up and and Martinez is with him too.
Okay.
Isaiah.
Yeah.
He's out too, so I can say his name. But they roll up and they see the nonsense going on. And one of the only times I've heard Thornock like raise his voice. You know what I mean? He goes, "Third squad, get the fuck up and come here." And we're like, "Oh shit, okay, whatever." And we go over to wherever he took us to, and he's like, "Hey, listen, those guys are fucking morons. Because of how they treat their people, and this is a very high stress environment right now. Everyone's stressed about getting deployed. Do not hang out with that fucking platoon. Stay over here. Don't hang out with them. Just stay over here, because stay out of the bullshit, because you're gonna get caught up in it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. So people here have a level head. Okay, good to know."
Yeah.
But if I didn't have that, the reason why I bring that story up, if I didn't have that, and I'm here getting fucking smoked or whatever, not knowing what the fuck is going on, I'm just like, oh, I have to do this thing because the guy with extra stripes says so. This is kind of retarded. Whatever. You know what I mean? And when you really break it down like that, it's like, oh, this is fucking retarded. But then it's like, and the military needs a ranking structure. They need that. Right?
Yes.
That's how the organization has to run.
Yes.
But it's kind of fucking retarded. On the other side of it, it's kind of fucking retarded.
People get on that power trip.
Yeah, but then if I had that situation and the guy who's directly over me comes over and plays the part along with the other assholes, then it's like, so and again, obviously this isn't true, but just through the eyes of someone who's brand new to the military, trying to learn their steps, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, you're all assholes. All right, well, time to fucking just grit my teeth and bear it for the next 6 years.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what it becomes. So then it's like, okay, as someone who's stepping into that, you have to, it is incumbent upon you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that good example. Because
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to turn out like me, and you don't fucking want that.
Anyway, you're a good guy. So, yeah, I mean, leading by example is the biggest thing, man. And you said it perfectly, man. You got to treat them and talk to them like a human being, dude. We're all fucking the same thing once we're 6 feet under, you know what I mean? Past all the uniform, civilian job. the watches you wear, the caps you wear, everything.
The fucking flip flops you wear, you fucking psycho.
The flip flops I wear. When you're dead, bro, it's all gone. But yeah, so yeah, just treating them like human beings, man. Talking to them like that. You don't be a dick. Don't be an asshole. Don't be that NCO. So
Well, it's just it's a human issue, and it's never gonna go away. But it's a human issue to have problems with power.
yes,
You know, it's a human problem, and honestly, like what really helps me come to like understand a lot of it, and what helps me like not. I was still upset at times, obviously during my time in the military, but what helped me compartmentalize it in the long term was mushrooms, dude.
okay,
Mushrooms helped me out a lot.
yeah,
Because it just put this whole life thing that we're playing right now into a perspective, where it's like, oh yeah. No, all of this is kind of menial and tedious. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there are people and there are soldiers. Let's put it that way. There are soldiers, especially at the lower level, and I was one of them, where they need the stupid kicked out of them a little bit.
yeah,
Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like that is a thing, and you kind of need to be of a certain mindset if you're going to join the military. And you need to be, not kind of. You need to be of a certain mindset, and you need to have a certain amount of not gumption, but you need a certain amount of get your shit together.
right. A certain amount of discipline. and
Discipline.
that's where corrective action comes into play.
Yeah, like time to be an adult.
Yeah.
It is. I don't care if you're 18, 19, 20, 21. Like it's time to be an adult. And I think that's one of the things that kind of killed me about going to drill too. Is like I felt like because I joined the military when I was, how old was I? Because it was 2017, so I think I was like 19 years old. Yeah, I was 19 when I joined.
Wow.
And I always felt like, with rare exception, whenever I put on the uniform and went to drill, I just felt like I was permanently 19. Until like the last year and a half, I just felt like I was a fucking idiot teenager the whole time. Like, no, I know I'm not this retarded. What's going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But regardless of what age you are, there has to be a certain amount of discipline that's instilled in you, and a certain amount of, okay, well, it's time to be fucking mature now.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to be an adult. And for a lot of people, especially in the beginning, what instills that in them is good leadership at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
To really, because then in theory, they've been in long enough, and they've had enough experiences where it's like, okay, how do you put this in perspective? How do you treat certain situations? You don't speak to this person the same you speak to this person. And like, these people are used to being spoken to this way. So then it's learning all of these soft social skills in a structured environment like that, that'll carry you a long fucking way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, and a lot of it, again, the word gets used a lot, but a lot of it's like, it's how to politic properly. It's how to, like, certain people, if you piss this person off, you're going to kind of fuck yourself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Don't speak to this person this way or whatever. And it's like, how do you maneuver these social situations in an already high, like, it's weird. Like the National Guard, and I wonder if you can put this a better way than I can, 'cause I haven't really like been able to nail it down. It is the most high stress yet lackadaisical environment I have ever been in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, it is the most like high stress yet who gives a fuck here environment that I have ever been in.
Yeah.
Like, and I understand that there's time for quiet and there's time for loud noise. I understand that. Just to put it generally, I get that. But at the same time, it's like, wait, why are we switching up now? Wait, what's going?
You don't know what to expect.
Wait, what did I miss? Like,
Yeah.
I thought we were cool. What's
Yeah.
going on? You know what I mean? It's just, and I think a lot of it is just, they're just humans. They're trying to figure out their own shit. But at the end of the day, once you reach a certain level in that, once you start reaching the 5, the 6, certainly the 7, a lot of that stops mattering. It's how you perform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Obviously, a big part of your life is physical fitness and staying, just staying fit.
Mm.
What importance do you put on your physical fitness when it comes to leadership?
That's impactful. Again, leading by example. I'm not going to tell someone something that I'm not going to do, right? So, I'm like top 1%, not to brag or anything like that, but I'm like top 1% in ACFT scores in our battalion. For good reasons, right? Just because I work my ass off, and when the time comes to tell these soldiers, because it's really common in our unit that when the ACFT comes around, these guys, a majority, surprisingly, man, and it pisses me off, want to do the bare minimum. In an infantry unit, I mean, given we're not an active duty unit, but I mean, you should want to be in your most active, I don't know, as active as possible, as fit as possible. So for when the time comes, everything just rolls along smoothly for you. Right?
Well, it makes your life easier.
It makes everything easier.
Like that was
right?
something
Yes.
that was something that our sergeant major told us when we were in basic training.
Yeah.
He was like, "You guys, unfortunately," he goes like, 90% of you guys, this is the most in shape you'll ever be."
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is controlled, your meals are controlled, you aren't eating fast. I mean, the food's not fucking amazing, but like, you're not eating fast food.
Yeah.
You're doing physical activity every day. You're burning a lot of calories.
Yeah.
This is the most, and this is, I mean, that was with the exception of me hitting that sweet spot during my prep. That was the most physically fit that I've ever been in. Was when I was in basic. I was running like a fucking. My 2 mile time was ridiculous. Now, granted, it was also at fucking close to sea level, so that helped a lot with the lung capacity and the lung endurance, and you know a certain disease that ran around, and then a certain medication that followed. But whatever, you know that kind of fucked my lungs a little bit.
Yeah.
But and a certain burn pits. But you know it is what it is.
Burn pits.
It is what it is.
Hope you're registered.
Yeah, right. Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I tried registering in the burn pit thing. I just gave up, and I need to pick it back up. I need to actually stay on it to get registered properly. But just going for that's a whole other conversation. But he was like, "This is the most in shape." Like I think my fucking 2 mile time was something fucking dumb, like 12:01. It was, dude. I was,
Hell yeah,
I was Speedy Gonzalez, but then I came back and I was like, Waterburger.
Fuck yeah.
Hello. You know what I mean? But, you know, he was like, this is the most in shape that 90% of you will ever be. And being in shape, not only is it going to save your life if you're in combat, but it'll make your life as an infantryman easy. He goes, you should always be able to maintain at a minimum a 7-minute 2 mile or a 7-minute mile, a 14-minute 2 mile. That should be, and that really, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Like in general for your life, being in shape makes your life easy, and it's the best preventative measure or the best preventative medicine you can ever have.
Definitely.
But like, and let's call a spade a spade. There are few things and I feel like you're on the same page with me. There are a few things in the military that made me more upset than getting smoked by a fat guy.
Yes. Yeah. They have no room to talk or make that kind of smoke session happen. So, hypocrites at its finest. So, yes, I think it is very important. I'm glad they switched from, what was the old one called? APFT?
It was just the Army Physical Fitness. Yeah, the Army Physical Fitness
I
test.
think it was the APFT.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm glad they switched from that to the ACFT throughout all MOSs because we're a fucking fighting unit. We're the biggest fucking military organization in the world. We need to be at least somewhat kind of fit, and that extends to the active duty dudes. Because I've been to active duty bases during missions and see some fat dudes too in there at active duty bases. I'm like, bro, how are you guys getting by? But yes, I think staying fit.
We know exactly how they're getting by. We know exactly how they're. We've seen. Wait, no, I'm gonna stop you right there. We know exactly how they're getting. We saw it. I saw it in our unit where the fucking E6s and above that, let's say, a little bit out of shape. They would pencil in their scores.
Yeah,
I watched it happen.
It's a shame, bro. It's a shame, and you know, in order to get promoted, to get sent to schools, you have to be passing your ACFTs. You can't be flagged for any of that shit. Otherwise, you can't go. And yes, that's where I'm going to call it cheating. Penciling your fucking scores to help you get to whatever school that some other fucking hardworking soldier should get is that pisses me off, man. Because, as you know, I won't delve too deep into it, but I've been trying to do Ranger School since fucking Djibouti, dude. And I've been fucking giving the end of the shit stick every single fucking time. So it's just whatever now at this point. At least I got my air assault out of the way. So I worked hard for those schools, man, and that's where I keep telling these guys, like, stop trying to do the bare minimum. Like, I understand you don't want to make a career out of your, National Guard infantry thing. You could do whatever the hell you want, but at least keep yourself and have, enough discipline to keep yourself in somewhat decent shape, because it not only benefits your military career, but it keeps you healthy and fit for your civilian side, right? So if any health issues were to come up, you're going to beat it. Me personally, I rarely get sick, dude, because of what I'm doing, supplements, vitamins, fucking everything. And I'm not the fittest guy in the world, dude. I'm not the fastest. I'm not the strongest. I'm not the quickest, but I do enough to balance myself in every aspect in order to get by and make myself known that I am working my fucking ass off. So I try to instill in these guys, my Joes, like, hey, stop going for the bare minimum. Do what you can, max out your shit so you can get the school that you want. Max out your shit so you can get your fucking 5 when the time comes, so you won't get passed up, etc. So, yeah, staying fit is key for me. Even if I wasn't in the military, I think I'd still be doing the same exact thing, man. So
And I had a lot of issues with the guy. Well, we had a lot of issues with each other, but I had a lot of issues with Maynard. But one thing that I did like about him is that how much he pushed physical fitness and how much he tried to make that a thing. Where it's like, hey, this is really important. This is gonna, again, I just said, it's gonna make your life easier. It's gonna help you be promotable. Like all of these things, like at the core of your military career, regardless of your MOS, of your job, being physically fit is going to carry you a long way. It is in your best interest. Dude, I'm not going to lie. What fucking killed me in that new PT test was when the sprint drag carry. When
that's the worst one,
after you're done, it's I think the first exercise is you pick up the kettlebells, right? So you run the kettlebells up and down, and then you start doing the side step. I remember the first time our unit did that. I'm not making this up. The first time we were doing this, I was in line and I'm watching the first round of people go. And this guy, I forget who the fuck it was, but this guy picks up the kettlebells, fucking huffs it, right? Gets back. He starts to do the side kicking, whatever, and he trips and falls. And I'm like, what a fucking pussy. How did you do that? I pick up the fucking kettlebells and I start doing the side step and my legs give out and I didn't fall, but I felt myself stumble. I was like, what the fuck just happened to my legs?
I fell. I fell the first time I did
it. Oh, wait, are these my hip adductors? What the fuck is going on?
Dude.
So what I liked about that now I think it's fucking devious to make you do all of that and still run 2 miles. It's
is absurd.
It's 6 events and then a 2 mile run. I think that's fucking devious as shit. I think that's evil. But on the other hand, it really exposes all of your weaknesses.
Yes.
Very quickly. And that I had known this going up to it, because I'd been in prep and I'd done the bodybuilding or the physique show.
Yeah.
But what that really showed me was oh no, there's more to fitness than lifting weights. Oh no, this is bad. This is a real tough fucking, you know what I mean? So you get done with all, because what is it? And I'm so fucking, I'll be honest, I like that PT test more than I like the original for the simple fact that there's no more sit-ups.
Same.
I fucking
Same.
Dude, I didn't there were a couple PT tests I took where I failed sit-ups, but I could do push-ups just fine. I could do fucking the 2 mile run pretty okay. I never failed it, but it all right.
Yeah.
I think with the original PT test I was running 14 and a half, 15-minute 2 miles. It was fine.
Yeah.
Not phenomenal, but
it's pretty good.
Okay.
For standard, yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I think the worst I ever did was maybe 15 and a half, 16 minutes. It's fine. You know what I mean? But the sit-ups, you only had to do, I think the minimum was 40 something.
49.
In 2 minutes. Dude, I was dying by fucking 28.
Same, dude.
28, 30, 32. I was like,
I
oh
don't
my
know what
God,
it was about
this is
sit-ups.
fucking horrible. But then, yeah, it just always killed me. But then you do like, because what is it? It's, you do like the fucking throw thing. You have to throw, I'm going to get these way out of order. I've done it in so long. But you had to like throw a ball or the medicine ball, however far. It was like the trap bar deadlift, the sprint drag carry. And what's the rest of them?
And then it's the plank is last
Yeah.
before the 2 mile run. And then it's the, so let me do them in order. So it's the deadlift, then it's the hand release push-ups, then it's
Oh, yeah, those are fucking devious too.
the ball toss,
Yeah.
the sprint drag carry, the plank, and then it's the run.
Okay, so 5 and then a run. Yeah.
Yeah.
So doing all of that, and I thought it was interesting that they added for people to understand what a hand release push is exactly what it sounds like. It's you go down and you have to kick your arms out, bring them back in, and then push back up. So I get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there is some momentum you can get from doing push-ups, and it really. What I liked about it is it completely got rid of like, oh, you're not breaking 90. Yeah, I did break 90. And I was like, because nobody's fucking filming it. Nobody's watching. You know what I mean? So you had a lot of people, and I fell in this category sometimes, where I would get tired. I'm just doing like, fuck it, trying to keep momentum. But you had these other fucking studs that were just like, like moving the earth. You know what I mean? So that completely removes any sort of question. It's like, nope, you're all the way down. You kick your arms back out, bring it back in, do that. But yeah, to do all 5 of those, let's say you do like, let's just say you do above average. You're doing well. And then you got to haul your ass for 2 months.
Yeah, it makes the 2 mile run a little more difficult.
Fucking evil.
Yeah, than the previous runs, yeah. Doesn't feel good.
Man.
You definitely feel it the next day, though, for sure.
What do you, because I noticed like you posted a lot on your stories. You do a lot of like, how would you put like it's not the conventional's not the right word. You do a lot of dynamic movements. Let's put it that way, right? You do a lot of rows. You do a lot of kettlebells. How do you feel that improves your fitness, not just your fitness regimen, but the fitness results you get? How do you feel that improves that over just doing like standard, like, okay, I'm gonna do like this much on a bike or this much of running and then weightlifting? Like for your overall health, how do you feel like that that has improved? Because you're sticking with it, so I'm assuming you prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
So for an overall health standpoint, how do you feel like that is carrying you even before you started doing jiu-jitsu?
Mm-hmm. So, to answer that question, it's funny because before, I would say, Washington, D.C. time, that time we were at the inauguration, up until that point in time, that's where I was like, I saw people working out with kettlebells. And to me, I was like, what a waste of time, bro. I was being a hater pretty much. I was like, why don't you just lift weights like a fucking man? Blah, blah, blah. And what tripped me out is I listened to a podcast with Rogan, and he had Pavel Tsatsouline. Do you know who he is? Pretty much introduced kettlebell into like the Western, like to America. You should check him out. Check him out, dude. He's this fucking stud, bro. Pavel Tsatsouline. And I listened to a podcast with him explaining, the benefits of kettlebells, and that just completely changed my mindset. I said, okay, fuck that. I'm gonna give it a shot.
That dude.
So yeah, dude, that's a good fucking podcast if you want to learn about fitness and kettlebells specifically.
The whole body benefits of kettlebell training.
Yeah.
No shit. Yeah, I'll listen to this.
This dude trains like fucking. He used to train Spetsnaz. He came into trade SEALs, dude. This guy's the fucking real deal.
Interesting.
So I listened to that podcast and it changed my mindset on kettlebells. And I was like, okay, dude, if this fucking stud is doing this shit and he has a background of XX and X, I'm going to give it a shot. So in 2022, I started implementing kettlebells slowly and I just fell in love with it, dude. So I started getting all the different weights. And then I'm a big follower of Onnit's gym. Obviously, Rogan has a lot to do with that too. But and then I found out about the maces and the clubs and all the unconventional, the ropes, everything. So I started implementing that more into my workouts rather than just your normal gym sesh where, you're fucking dumbbells, barbells, deadlift, squats, that kind of thing. And once I started seeing the results of what I was doing unconventionally, it improved my PT scores. You know, I was more flexible. It just improved every aspect of my life. I felt better.
That's what I was going to ask about, because my big issue is flexibility.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I don't stretch nearly as much as I should.
Yeah.
I just fucking don't.
Yeah.
I'm a lazy bitch when it comes to fucking stretching.
I am too, man.
But
Guilty.
how has unconventional is a great way to put it. Doing these unconventional movement-based training methods, have you noticed a difference in your joints and in your flexibility? Because I know, like, for me, I mean, a lot of it's from the military, but I understand a lot of it's also from fucking weight training, that my knees fucking pop all the time. This fucking wrist just like, it's going light on me right now. Usually it's like,
Yeah.
this is a horrible example. The one time I'm popping my, well,
Yeah, I can hear
usually
that.
it's a lot worse than that.
Okay.
It's like this wrist is fucking crazy. I'm supposed to be wearing a brace on it, but I fucking don't. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the issues that because the guy, I remember when I saw a doctor at the VA about it, and they were looking at it and like, okay, move it this way, move it that way, okay. He was like, okay, like what, like do you feel like you have a strength imbalance? I'm like, well, my left side can be kind of a little stronger than my right, like, a little more fluid like that. He's like, okay. He goes, okay, so in the military, he was like, well, what was your job in the military? I'm like, I was in infantry. He goes, okay. Are there anything that comes to mind about you using your right hand a lot in the infantry? I was like, well, I mean, I get off the ground a lot with my right hand. And he goes, do you do it like purposefully and you're conscious of what the movements you're making, or do you kind of just like get up and run? I'm like, the second one. He goes, show me how you would do that. And I showed him, like, okay, well then you've been doing that for fucking 5.5 years. No wonder. And the way, and like, I guess, because again, it was just like, 'cause I'm right hand dominant.
I was gonna say dominant.
I would grab the, oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought, not the barrel, but like I would grab the rails of the M4 and I would be getting, if we were like laying down or whatever, I would grab with that and I would push like this.
Okay.
And so like just doing that a lot.
Yeah.
And just putting a lot of force like that, especially when you're weighing, anywhere between 35 to, let's just be like conservative, like 35 to 60 pounds more than you usually do.
Yeah.
That'll put some fucking stress on it.
Yes.
And so, but back to what I was asking, like how have you noticed a difference in your flexibility and then your joint movements and your joint health overall by doing training like this, where it's like full body, unconventional, you're putting your body into motion in ways that's probably not used to when you're just doing like bench press, like different presses and like stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think it helps a lot, especially with injury prevention and maintaining the injury if it does occur. So the reason I know is because I've experienced it. Obviously, jiu-jitsu, you're going to get, some ticks and nicks in there. I've had injuries where I've recovered pretty quickly. So I think it does have a lot to do with what I've been doing. And again, supplements come to effect, right? There's a supplement, that's exactly what it is. But I think it does aid that. But the unconventional training definitely prevents a lot of injuries. And if the injury does occur, I think it helps. I don't know what the fucking word is. It helps repair it more quickly, I guess to say. But yes, to answer your question, that is very important, again, into the fitness aspect of everything that you do in life, right? Whether you're picking up your kids, moving furniture, lifting weights, the ACFT, it doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. This shit's going to help you in every aspect of your life.
Yeah, and having two sons, I would imagine it's very incumbent upon you to be an active, like obviously be active in their lives, but like be an active father, right? Because because of how you are as a person. I think most, if not all men should be like this. Yeah, all men should be like this, but like you don't want to be a fat dad.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I get it, like things happen in life, but then also like wouldn't you rather be a physically fit dad?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So that's what I try to display it through. I used to do a lot of Madness Mondays videos, which I don't do anymore just because I've focused more into the just working out and keeping to myself now. But I used to do Madness Mondays videos where every Monday I would do a video through my High Speed Warrior page and giving a life advice and tips and things like that as far as any category in life, not just fitness. But one of the topics that I did have was excuses. Genetics are not going to be a legitimate excuse for you to say that you are overweight or obese or fat or whatever term.
Except for
you
like
wanna
extreme
call it.
examples, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. There's those givens. But
generally being a American, with not, I would say, how do I put it, not like a standard life start, but just being in America, generally speaking,
yeah,
genetics aren't going to be the biggest. But it's interesting now what we're learning about all of the fucking poisons in our food and fucking. I'm interested to see what RFK is going to do.
RFK is coming in.
But
Yeah.
that dude's like the Grim Reaper for McDonald's, dude.
Yes.
Like all these memes that I'm seeing where it's like what happens at 2 a.m. when I'm getting a bowl of Fruit Loops and it's just RFK in the shadows. Or like it shows people like they're about to open up a candy bar, or they're about to get a Pop-Tart, they're going to get some like McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, put that down.
Yeah, put that down.
We're doing cardio today, and I don't want to hear any gripes about it.
I love it, dude. I fucking love it. But yeah, I think it's important, man, especially if you have kids, man. I'm 35. Fairly, I feel my age. But to be active with my kids feels good, man.
Wait, you're
it's good,
35?
man. Yeah, I'm 35.
I thought you were like
man.
31 or some shit. Holy
No, bro.
fuck,
I
dude.
enlisted at 28, bro.
I knew you enlisted later
I
in
was
your
fucking-
20s. But holy, you
I was
don't
a
look
grandpa in basic.
you don't look 35, so good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good for you, man. Holy
bro.
fuck. Whatever your skincare routine is, keep it up.
Man. I'll do what I can. Fountain in youth, I guess. Yeah, but it's and not only that, but to have longevity, man. Just to when you're like RFK, he's a good example, man. Look how fucking old he is, and look how fit and fucking sculpted he looks, man. And like, I want to be that shit.
Well, and they haven't talked about it at all because I'd imagine it's very taboo. But he's been open relatively about how, he's a big proponent of TRT,
Yeah.
big proponent of just hormone therapy in general in your late years. Rogan's obviously talked about it a lot. I would love to see, as a effect of RFK being in government, I would love to see a decriminalization of testosterone, like testosterone and Anavar. I think that would really help, and BPC 157. I think that would really, because like right now, for instance, like for me, I was on TRT for a bit.
Yeah.
And then when the VA was kind of fucking me, I went some alternate routes. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't do anything super therapeutic. Thankfully, the TRT that I was on had, like, I started out, my test levels, dude, were at like 168, like 158 or 168. Do you know what the level should be? Do you know about that?
No, I don't.
Okay, so generally speaking, for men between the ages of 18 and I think it's like 38 or something like that, it kind of starts to go down in your early 30s. But if you're a healthy male, generally between the ages of 18 and 38, maybe it's 35, around there, you're supposed to be north of 600 nanograms per deciliter. And you're supposed to have like a free testosterone, the amount of testosterone that's flowing in your bloodstream. You're supposed to be, I'm a little more not knowledgeable on that number, but I knew you're supposed to be around like 150 or something. I don't remember what my free test was, but my testosterone levels were at 158.
Oh, shit.
When they should have been north of 6. The golden zone is like 700 to 900, right? Once you start getting to like 1200, 1500, that's when you're super therapeutic. And you're like, hey, buddy, what Mexican supplements are you on, huh? But I started at 168. The VA was only able to bring me up to like 300, like 400-ish. Took some alternate routes. Was able to knock myself up to 850.
Okay.
And bro,
Felt good.
oh my God, dude. Like, and it was funny because like for the longest time, I was dealing pretty heavy with some pretty severe depression, anxiety, And I didn't realize how much it was. Outside of some extreme experiences in my life, I didn't understand how much it was fucking up my just my perception, just my worldview, until I started taking tests, and I was like, "This is how you people operate." Holy fuck! Because dude, I was sleeping better. I was obviously exercise was way better. I was seeing muscle gains way better, fat loss way better. My depression and anxiety were next to gone.
Nice.
Like it was incredible. Now, granted, I've been off of tests for I want to say like maybe, because when did I stop? I've been off for about maybe like a year and a half,
Okay.
close to 2 maybe around there. The timeline kind of gets muddy, but about a year. Let's say a year and a half to be conservative.
Okay.
And I've felt the decline. Granted, I'm still pretty good, and thankfully the TRT that I was on helped me get to about. I think I'm sitting right now at about 400.
Okay.
It's still on the low level, but I'm about 400-ish to maybe like 430-ish. So it's a lot better, and I can feel it. But like, I know how that felt to me,
Yeah.
and I was like, and I encourage like whenever this comes up between me and my guy friends, I'm like, go if you have the ability, go get your fucking blood work done.
Yeah.
At a bare minimum, go get your testosterone, free testosterone, and your hematocrit checked.
Yeah.
Because your hematocrit is the amount, I believe it's iron. It's the amount of iron in your blood. Because if you have a high hematocrit, that's going to show that you also have a lot of red blood cells, and that can lead to blood clots.
Okay.
So go get that checked. But if you can get a full panel done towards everything from that to like your lipids, your estrogen levels, all of that shit, just to get a holistic. It's literally like taking your truck or your vehicle to like a Firestone and having them do a full inspection. It's like, okay, here's the things that are going wrong. Here's what's this. Here's what's that.
Yeah.
Go get that shit looked at.
I'm curious now.
Dude, you should.
Curious.
If you have health insurance, and I'm sure you have it through like the National Guard or some shit.
VA.
Okay, yeah. Okay, dude, if you have it through, okay, this is exactly what I did. If you have it through the VA, because I've got the same thing, it runs out next year, which I'm assuming yours does too, right? You got it after the deployment?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so it runs out next.
I have VA compensation.
Oh, nice.
So
nice, okay.
I'm taken care of.
So, dude, no shit. All you have to do is, and this is for everyone else that's listening, if you have VA healthcare, all you have to do is call the VA, get on the phone. It might take a little bit, obviously, but get on the phone with the nurse hotline and be like, hey, this is who they give them all your information. They pull up your primary care, all that stuff. And she's like, hey, listen, these are the symptoms that I'm feeling. And the symptoms of low test is literally everything from sleep loss, too much sleep, fat gain, usually it's fat. I don't think fat loss is a symptom of low test, but like unnecessary fat gain, depression, anxiety, ED. You have to give them just like 2 of them if you're experiencing, even if you're not experiencing them. But I'm pretty sure you can also ask if you've never had a blood panel done. You can just ask them like, hey, what's my, especially because you're entering technically into your late 30s. Mm-hmm. You can ask them, because now that you're 35, you can ask them like, hey, I'm entering my late 30s. I want to figure out what my testosterone levels are at, and and the VA gave me a full blood work.
Okay.
A full blood work panel, and they now the VA will only give you. Because, and they've told, and this is not just like hyperbole, this is what they told me. Because of the fact that their clientele tends to be in their later years, right? 50s, 60s, 70s years old, typically.
Yeah.
They don't give you a whole lot. They only gave me 400 milligrams a month, which wasn't enough for me. But they have the ability to do like personally, I haven't done it, but from what I've heard, the worst way to do it is like they can give you a pellet where they surgically cut into your ass and they put a pellet, and it's like a slow drip pellet, a slow release, and you have to get it redone, I think every 4 months or something like that. Like that's an option. Testosterone cream is an option. Testosterone patches are an option, and then the intramuscular injection, the traditional, just pinning your ass or your shoulders or your delts or something like that. I got my quads pinned, dude. That fucking sucks.
Does it?
Oh my! So I remember, I'll never forget this, dude. So when I first got my, I had first gotten my TRT started through them. I had very low body fat because I just gotten done with my my preps. I was still low body, still trying to gain my weight back, all that type of stuff. So I literally didn't have enough fat on my ass to properly do the thing. So like, we're gonna pin your quads. I was like, all right, sounds good, whatever. And so I was like trying to do it myself. And the guy did it for me. It went fine. Whatever. No, wait. Yeah, no. He pinned. I forget where he pinned me, but like it was fine. Whatever. You know, because the idea, I was like, I had a big fear of needles, but I was like, I got to get over it for this shit because it's gonna help my health. They pinned my quads, dude. It felt like it was ripping through me. It was like, I was like, oh fuck, that fucking hurt. But then they just, dude, literally just pinning your ass. I did it by myself. I would have my buddies help me every now and again if I couldn't get it right, because all my buddies are like medical, like they're all like EMTs, and like one of my buddies that used to live with me here, he's deployed now, but he's a corpsman in the Navy, so I would just do it, or like they would show me how to do it, whatever. Yeah. Pinning your ass is fucking easy. It is literally the easiest, as long as you just fucking have the flexibility, just to literally just you stand in a mirror, you turn around, you fucking grab a nice piece of ass meat, and you just do it. Real fucking simple, dude. Yeah. Real easy, and. So they have a lot of ways they can give it to you, and it's worth it, man.
Okay, yeah.
It is fucking worth it. And just for the good peace of mind. Yeah, to see where you're at.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah. Definitely arouses my curiosity.
But anyway, my point of bringing all this up is I would love to see a decriminalization or just better, like, conversations happening around hormone therapy. Mm-hmm. Not to sound like a bigot, but if we're giving a bunch of people that want to go through transgender surgery, if we're going to give them a bunch of HRT and let these people get on testosterone and let them get on estrogen and get on estrogen blockers and hormone blockers, why not help the fucking men that actually need, you know what I mean? Because now, like with the way that everything's set up, a lot of insurances don't do TRT. And then if you want to, and I tried going to, like independent clinics here in Albuquerque. Yeah. They won't accept you unless you're 33 years old, a lot of them. And if they do accept you, it is something stupid like $300 to $400 plus a month.
Shit.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So now that you have the VA, go check that shit out, dude.
Yeah. I definitely
it is worth your fucking time.
I'm curious to see what kind of results I get. So I take I mean obviously I mentioned I take supplements, but I take the over the counter Jocko shit test, Combat 2.0. I don't know what that really does to me. I just took it because fuck it, Jocko does a good job at promoting his supplements. So.
Because I've heard a lot of just like it's negligible around that type of stuff. I've heard of a lot of those test boosters. Really, what they do is they're like, and this is probably the not a great example, but the best analogy I can just from what I've read about them. And I've never, like, not specifically his stuff, but just over-the-counter test boosters, things that claim to boost your testosterone. The results are negligible, and they are like a soft antidepressant. Okay. They just make you feel better. Okay. Which, that's not nothing. Yeah. But, like, to actually, like, nothing's going to beat the actual stuff.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah. I've also, I mean, I don't mind saying this in public. So I just been, because I have, so one of my VA things, I guess you would call it disability. Yeah. If you want to categorize that, is PTSD with social anxiety. So they I've made the decision to start taking SSRIs.
Oh, shit.
So I just started to like maybe a few weeks ago, dude. And I've noticed a significant difference in, I'm taking it, you know? So it's Lexapro, I think. Yeah, it's Lexapro. They're starting me off at small doses right now.
Well, that's good.
Gradually going up, but yeah, I think that's going to be another factor into what I do with supplements and stuff, because I don't want to start mixing and matching all kinds of extra shit that I don't need. So
no, for real. And then that is, I mean, I shouldn't really talk a whole bunch of game about tests without fucking saying the obvious side effect. If you're taking, because they'll only give you therapeutic levels of it, obviously, but if you do take too much of it, and even if you just start it in general, you do enter the levels of like, okay, because it's everyone's, for me, thankfully, because again, I wasn't taking a whole lot. I ended up, towards the end of it, I was only taking 200 milligrams a week, which was 100 milligrams twice a week, at the advice of the person I was taking it from, who knew a lot of his shit. Thankfully, it didn't stop my testosterone production. It didn't stop. My balls haven't fucking gotten fucked up. I don't have like permanent ED or anything like thankful, but obviously there are stories upon stories of like bodybuilders, especially that take like a ton of gear. And obviously they're on compounds that doesn't even compare to what I was on. But even just getting on TRT, you do start to enter the things like, well, so if you don't use it, you lose it type of stuff. You know, that is something to think about. But it's interesting they put you on Electropro because when I got off of, when I got out of Djibouti, they put me on Wellbutrin.
Okay.
And for the first, and which is it's not an SSRI, but it is an antidepressant.
Yeah.
And getting on it, dude, I'll be real. It fucking for like 8 to 9 months or so, it really started working.
Okay.
Like I was just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
I remember very clearly for like the first 45 days, there were times where I just couldn't stop smiling.
Yeah.
It was the wildest shit ever. I was like, oh my God, I'm happy. Oh my God. I was like,
trip.
it was insane. But then like as the months started going on, I didn't decline, but I kind of just like, I got used to it and I kind of like plateaued a little bit. And then the conversation started coming of, well, do you want to get off of it and see how you feel, or do you want to raise your dosage? And that second one was real scary to me because unfortunately a side effect of antidepressants suicidal ideations.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, well, I think I'm going to try option A. And thank fucking God I did because I ended up not going down. My brain, because the way the doctor, I don't know how they described it to you, but the way my doctor described it to me is like, well, the way your body's producing these hormones, your dopamine and your serotonin, imagine your brain is sitting in the tub, but the tub isn't plugged. And all that's just going down the drain. Your brain's not absorbing it as the way it should. But what this medicine's going to do is going to put a fucking plug in the drain, and your brain's going to be soaked in serotonin and dopamine, and it's just going to absorb it better, and you're just going to actually feel the outcome of what your body's supposed to be producing. Thank God it sustained itself and it worked itself out.
Good.
I still do have like fits of anxiety and fits of whatever, and I'm not going to like completely negate the effects of mushrooms because mushrooms help me out a lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
A fucking lot. And I haven't taken mushrooms in a while, but and I'm never going to again because the end of it was just fucking horrible. It was fucking horrible. Ego death is real, son. Oh yeah, but like that mixed with the antidepressants, like all of that, there is something to it, and I really hope. Did you watch the Rogan podcast with JD Vance?
Yes, I did.
So at the very end there, where he's talking to him about psychedelics,
Yes.
how that can help. I really hope there's a new conversation around that.
Yeah.
Because that can help a lot of fucking people.
Oh, yeah. And they were specifically talking about veterans and stuff too, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree 100% with you, man. I'm hoping that I can probably get to that point in time too where I don't need them anymore. Because I have noticed, like, I don't know if you noticed, and if you didn't, that's kind of a good thing, I guess, but I do have like major anxiety, bro. Like, I don't go out of my way to talk to people, which is kind of a bad thing if you own a business. But
No, yeah, that's how I was too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I will not make friends out in public, obviously. I'm aware of everything. That's why I was saying I was paying attention to that Humvee shit, man, because I'm just like super jumpy all the fucking time. I'm paying attention to my surroundings. We go to a restaurant, the typical thing where you don't have your back against the exit, that kind of shit. No matter where to go,
And that's
that shit.
That's not a bad thing though. But just like we were talking about with training, it's not a bad thing until it becomes bad.
Yeah.
It becomes too much of it when you're just high anxiety all the time, hyper aware all the time. Because what that's doing is that's when your brain has, and there are studies coming out about it now, where when your brain has high levels of cortisol all the time, the neuroinflammation that it causes, and eventually the neuro decay that can cause, because your synapses are just firing all the fucking time. You're not meant to live at high cortisol levels all the fucking time. Mm-hmm. So that'll weigh on you. That's what leads to burnout. That's what leads to strictly muscle atrophy, and just your quality of life just diminishes if you're just at high cortisol. And that's what PTSD is. I believe a reason that PTSD affects the brain the way it does because your cortisol is just running all the fucking time.
Yeah. So I hope it gets to that point, like I said, to where I don't have to rely on those anymore. Not that I rely on them now, but I have noticed a difference since I started taking them. Because I'm on the CPAP and everything, bro. I'm all fucked up.
Dude,
But
so did you get like a sleep test done or like?
yeah. So when I started getting compensation, it started with sleep apnea. Obviously, the given any infantryman should have tinnitus. Um, so that was automatic. um, so I got a sleep test done through the VA. They took me home with a do-it-yourself kit.
Yeah, I had that too.
Yeah. So I had the worst kind.
No shit.
Severe obstructive.
Were you snoring a ton?
Yeah, dude. My wife would tell me all the fucking time. She's like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like, I can't sleep because you're snoring. You stop breathing. She was telling me, so I was like, nah, no way. But yeah, so I went.
So I know you
got
kind of
sleep
just
test
alluded
done.
to it, but like how bad was it
It was pretty bad,
that they
man.
found after the test?
To have the worst kind, man, and then to top it off, I'm a mouth breather, apparently. So they gave me the full fucking mask, right?
So what did they tell you though? Like what did they tell you was going on?
So they gave me my sleep patterns, and of course I'm not a doctor, so I don't understand the graphing of it. But they told me that I had a lot of sleep disturbances, a lot of the breathing would stop. I'd stop breathing a lot. Um, the snoring, obviously, they caught that when I did breathe. It was a lot snoring, and I guess it's more common in overweight people. But
Yeah.
I had what those people have.
No shit.
Yeah, dude. I don't know how. I don't know. So I don't know the science of it. I don't know if it's genetic or if it was caused by fucking burn pits. But yeah, so they diagnosed me with the worst kind of sleep apnea. They assigned me a CPAP machine. So I sleep with that every fucking night of my life, and it sucks, bro. I hate it. I have an appointment with the sleep clinic next month to find out if there's any alternatives because sleeping with that thing is just berserk. And I think that's where the SSRIs come into play because it got to a point where I just started taking the mask off. And you know what the benefit of the CPAP is, right?
Yeah.
It's to help you breathe and to
Right.
prevent heart conditions in the
Well,
future.
it's putting oxygen back into your body.
Right. So I was taking it in the middle of the night. I would just take the fucking mask off because of how annoying it was and just sleep without it for the rest of the night. And given I'm still waking up 5 times, 6 times a night. But the SSRIs, once I started taking those, it did improve my sleep patterns a little more. But yeah, it was weird, man. And of course, it plays into other aspects of life of the SSRIs coming into play. But that's where I noticed the improvements. So I'm hoping it'll be a good little road for me for the time being.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. And I'd imagine, obviously, because your training's good, I imagine your diet's pretty decent.
Yeah.
So a lot of that, and this may just be me talking out of my ass, but this is like what I attribute a lot of my experience to being on Wellbutrin at least, because I wasn't on a ton at all either. I think I was on like 150 milligrams a day or some shit like that. And it's like the best way I can describe it, it's like my brain was shown how to react properly, and my brain was shown how it should be acting naturally while on the drug.
Yeah.
So when I got off, it's like I was running on a treadmill, and then I kept running at the same speed off a treadmill.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's like my brain figured out how to do it properly. It's like, oh, we just do this on our own.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way I think I can put it. And yeah, and I think a lot of it too was just everything that I was doing. Like, it helped me organize thoughts a lot better. It helped me because I was good at time management going through military school, but like I didn't have a ton of. Now, granted, my fucking my attention span is just absolute dick, and I attribute a lot of that to the phones, right? But like, it helped me a lot with staying on task. It helped me a lot with focusing. Okay. So then being off of that, it's like my brain. I still falter, of course, because I'm just human. And again, we have phones. It's just a brand new fucking. We won't know the effect of these for another 20 years.
Yeah,
they're so brand new. Like, when did the first iPhone come out? In like 2009. 2007, around there.
Yeah, a little earlier.
So we haven't had these for 20 years yet, and we won't know anything about it for another 20 or 25. But even with like that being a factor, it really helps me focus properly, organize my thoughts, and just staying on task. So I feel like you are, because with how disciplined you are around your life in general, and you're fueling your body properly, you're gonna be able to get back on track or stay on a new track and a better one once the time that this medication is taking your life is over. You'll be able to sustain that, hopefully, and hopefully it just does its fucking job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pray for that, man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just it's a good little journey right now. We'll see how long it takes for me to actually lay off of them. You know, I started counseling too and stuff. So, just because of the events that happened leading up to JRTC, I think it's time for me to just, because I'm not good at, along with not good at making friends or whatever, I'm not good at expressing my feelings. My wife is the best person that knows this. I'm not good at talking about feelings and this and that. So I'm working on it. I'm working on the anxiety part of everything, and I think that's going to improve other things, especially with my business, but just in public, you know, for my business. I think networking is really important no matter what. So let's hope that it does improve those aspects of life as well.
Well, I think in whatever form of it that it takes, whether it's like strict psychotherapy, going to a therapist, going to a counselor, like whatever route that is for you, I think it's good for most people anyway. Now, granted, I know, like, and it's a spectrum, right? Like there are some people that I know that go to a therapist on a regular basis and their mindset is, well, I'm not just going to do this when it's bad. I'm going to do this all the time because A, I have the resources to do it, and B, I'm doing this continued thing so I know what it's like, so that when things do go bad, it's not like, you know, it's like you're going on a paved road and then running off into dirt. You know, it's rather, oh, I just hit a pothole, I can still stay on the paved road. I know that other people, this is the category that I fell into, where it was I only saw a therapist when things got bad, and it helped me get back on track and move on. And it's different strokes for different folks, obviously, but because I was the same way. I had a real issue figuring out how to articulate my emotions properly, really having a real issue of how to just explain how I was feeling or explain my train of thought and just articulating myself in general, and help in doing all of that really helped me out a lot. Now, the reason I stopped seeing a therapist, I started like figuring out, like, maybe this doesn't really have a place in my life anymore. It's not really helping me that much. And it got to the point where I was just like, well, I'm kind of, I mean, yeah, it's life and things aren't going like phenomenally. It's life is life. But there aren't exactly these like monumental issues or these things I want to talk about. I just feel like, and it got to the point where I was like, I feel like I'm complaining more than I'm like working through something or like finding new path. Because like what's good about it, having a good therapist or having a good psychologist or whatever, is they don't give you the answers. They just kind of give you a toolbox, and you figure out which one works for you and you move forward that way. But then when I brought that up to the person I was seeing, but they were like, well, how do you feel about complaining then? I'm like, no, that's not. Me. So then it's like, okay, maybe this is just more of a subscription service. You know what I mean? And then I'm not making this shit up. My final, and then he was a great guy, and, you know, we're human, shit happens. My fucking shrink literally fell asleep on me mid-session. No. I am not making this up, dude. What? He was like an older guy, very nice guy, right? Older guy, I want to say like early to mid-60s. Real grandfather type, you know what I mean? Shit. We met it. Yes, fucking hilarious, dude. We met at like 4:30 in the afternoon, right? He always kept his office warm. He always wore sweaters, and I'm not making this up. So I'm telling, like, we're talking about what I'm talking about, right? I forget, it wasn't even that big of a thing. I forget what I was talking about. And he's sitting there, and he would always sit like this, kind of reclined a little bit, not crazy like that, but always like reclined a little bit, whatever. Oh yeah, blah, blah. And I notice he's going like this. He's going like that. But then he catches himself. I don't say anything. I just act like he didn't even notice. Oh my God, he catches himself. He gets a little bit red. He sits up, drinks his water, whatever, you know. But then he goes back to this. And then literally, dude, I wish this was me exaggerating. I wish I was exaggerating. He's sitting there, and he does this. He goes, I'm talking like chin in chest,
Oh my God,
fucking
bro.
asleep, right? And then what ends up happening is he goes like this, and he's just
He's out for the count.
down.
Oh my
And so then,
God.
so I notice it happen, obviously, and I'm sitting, and I sit for like 30 seconds in silence, bro. And I'm just like, oh fuck, this is happening. And I remember thinking like, okay, am I gonna be a dick? Or am I going to handle this like a mature adult? And thankfully, I handled it like a mature adult. Because, like, my brain was like, how do I fuck with him? But I just didn't. So I'm sitting there, and I'm, like, watching him for 30 seconds, and I'm just like, okay. And
That's crazy.
and then, so then I'm like, long night, huh? Doesn't move a muscle.
Oh my God, dude.
Doesn't move a muscle.
That's
And mind you, this is the session after I brought up the complaining, how I felt I was complaining. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll just do one more and whatever. We'll see how the next one goes. Dude. And I'll end this conversation with this. He fucking literally, he still sits there, not moving a muscle. And I speak up a little bit. And I'm like, long night, huh? And he goes, dude, I thought this because I was worried because I was like, if I scare the guy or if I shock him, I'll fucking have a heart attack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is embarrassed to the fucking nines, beat fucking red, dude. I'm talking like red as that fucking sticker right there, like red as fuck. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. This is blah blah blah. I'm like, hey. I was like, hey man, don't worry about it. It's fine. Look, I know like last week I already talked about it. I know I was going to do this. This isn't for me anymore. I think this has ran its course. I really appreciate it. Like, whatever, man. Like, oh, I'm sorry if there's anything. No, dude, like, no hard feelings. I was like, I literally told him, like, dude, we're human. Shit happens. Nothing against you. This is a sign that this isn't for me
Good
anymore.
for you for understanding.
All right. Yeah. I was just like, I'm not gonna be an asshole. This is a
Yeah.
fucking old man in a
Yeah.
warm office with a nice sweater. Like, you know what I mean? So then I was like, and it really put in perspective for me too. And I figured I was thinking about this on the drive home and like the following weeks, I was like, yeah, maybe I was just talking about some stupid shit. Maybe it was worth falling asleep during. You know what I mean? But it was funny because I left I walked out of his office and I walked into the reception area, and the receptionist, she's like, "Oh, what?" She looks at her watch. She's like, "Oh, you're done a little bit early. Okay, can I get you scheduled for the next couple of weeks?" I'm like, "No, ma'am. You guys have been great, but I think my time here is done. Have a good one." I just fucking split.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That is crazy, bro. That's the first for me to hear that story. That's a great story too, by the way. But yeah, no, to play into that, I think that's why I put off therapy for so long, or counseling, because not for that specific reason of them falling asleep on me, but
But I mean, I think it's a reasonable concern. Maybe.
yeah, now that can come into play anytime. But I think it's just because it's and nothing against these people who do this for a living. They go to school to get their degrees in this. This is what they study. But I just putting it into play, I think like, okay, I'm talking to this random stranger about all my fucking problems and issues 1 hour out of the week or whatever, however many times you attend or whatever time you put into it. And, that, like you said, they're not going to give you the solution, the answer to life of what your problems are. So, that's why I put it off for so long, because I'm like, if I'm going to be telling all these issues and problems and things like that, and they're going to tell me whatever feedback they feel from their experience, how long is this supposed to go on for? Where's the line where like, okay, how long are you going to talk about these problems? How are you improving in life? Would I be able to improve in life after this point in time that I've had with you talking about my problems? You know what I mean? So it's just like, where's the end game into all that? For you, it was obvious. You know what I mean? But but that's what I think. That's what I think is like, how long is this gonna go on for? Is it necessary? At what point do I stop? Do I even need it anymore? So that definitely came into play when I was thinking about starting.
Yeah, well, it's good to look, because you don't want to You don't want to sail into the ocean without a destination and just hope you're going to get there. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that for sure. But then on the other end of that spectrum, you don't want to give it unrealistic expectations because they're not going to fix your problems.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're going to help you understand them maybe a little bit better, and they're going to help you figure out what the right path for you may or may not be. But they're not going to fix whatever you think they're going to fix. Again, they're just going to give you the tools and help you put the car together. So I think it is important to go into there like, okay, I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know how long I'm going to do this, but accept that this is just another resource.
Yeah.
It's a supplement to your life.
Right.
This is not your diet. This is not what you're going to be doing every day, but it is a supplement, just like a vitamin or a protein supplement that you take or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just another tool in the toolbox to make you a more well-rounded individual.
And I think what's really therapeutic is, and I think everybody needs to find some type of therapy for themselves. And I'm not talking literal therapy with a complete stranger, but for me, it would be obviously spending time with the family. That's the biggest one. Working out, which benefits your life. And then finding some type of extracurricular activity, whether it be books, video games, cinema, jujitsu. Like jujitsu is huge for me, bro. It helped a lot. And I'm glad. I guess I should tell this story. It's pretty funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's a cool story. So obviously I told you about my wrestling background. I wrestled from 8th grade all the way up to 12th grade. Of course, I couldn't compete in high school because of all the trouble I was getting in. But when my son first started getting into sports, he did, his first sport was soccer at 3 years old. He did it for 3 and 4. And then he did, what did he do? He did Taekwondo from like 6, no, maybe a little older. He did Taekwondo for like a year and a half, maybe. He did another sport that I can't remember. But anyways, getting to my point. He had gone through like 2-3 sports, and then he was just getting stagnant in Taekwondo. And I told him he didn't want to continue it anymore. So I was like, that's fine. But I told him, I said, son, you can't just get bored with something and then move on to the next thing, and then get bored with something and then move on to the next thing, and then etc. moving on. I said, you need to find something that you're going to want to stick to and better yourself and improve and, going on and on. And I made him a deal, dude. I said, the next sport that you pick, I promise I will do it with you if you decide to stick with it for the long run. And we made a deal. We shook on it, and he chose jiu-jitsu. Nice. So as a father and son duo, I signed him up for jiu-jitsu, and I don't know why I didn't sign up for it earlier in my life, dude. Like, this shit has benefited me a lot, and it's very therapeutic. It's a good place where I can take my anger out on, the anger that I do have. My anxiety, bro, it's oh my God, bro, I can't even explain to you how fucking great it feels to be on those mats, dude. So, we 2 years now. We've been doing jiu-jitsu for 2 years now. And it's great, man. I love it. I think, and I don't want to sound fucking full of shit or full of myself, but I think we're on a good path, man. And I'm like I went from white belt to blue belt pretty quickly because of my wrestling background. So as of right now, I'd have to look at my phone, but as of right now, I think I'm 15-1 in competition. The one loss that I did have was by 1 point to the same guy that I beat 3 times. So that pissed me off. That was my first loss. So I'm currently blue belt. As a matter of fact, we have a competition this weekend if you want to check it out, man, if you have some free time. But I'm trying to establish myself as, one of the top tier guys in New Mexico. And if I haven't already proven it, for sure, this next tournament coming up, if I take triple gold, that'll set a mark. We have a international tournament coming up, which is free for spectators if you want to check that out next year too, February 15, 16. It's my first international tournament. Obviously, my goal is to take, double gold in that as well. If I can make myself known in New Mexico, possibly nationally, that would be a great thing, because it could potentially turn into something that I do maybe full time, depending on like how sponsorships go and shit like that. So
Right.
being 35 years old, entering the jiu-jitsu world, it's had a great impact for me. So I think it's helped me and my son advance in a lot of areas. So I just wanted to throw that out there, for the viewers, for the listeners, that if you haven't done jiu-jitsu, fucking give it a try, man. Where I train at, Carlson Gracie, there's a 3-day trial, free day trial that you can do to get tested out, man. See if it's for you, if it's not. But that's the best team I've ever trained with. Professor Daniel Souza, great guy, man. Loving him to death. He's a great mentor. So I continue to do. I'm gonna intend on doing jiu-jitsu until I'm fucking past black belt, man. So that's my intention. It's very therapeutic for me. I love it, and I can't talk enough about it, man.
That's fucking kick-ass. I want to get you in the same room. There's a comedian in town, really good guy, funny motherfucker. His name's Gian Hernandez.
Okay.
And he's been, I forget how long, he told me when he came on the podcast. I feel like a dick for not remembering, but he's a purple belt right now.
Okay.
I want to get you guys in the same room. I
That'd
think that'd be a cool podcast because he's super passionate about jiu-jitsu too, and
Okay.
he's super knowledgeable about it too.
Awesome.
He mainly trains in Santa Fe because that's where he lives right now.
Uh-huh.
But I think you guys in the same room. That'd be kick-ass.
Yeah.
That's a great thing that you and your son are doing it together.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's
good
great.
move.
Yeah. Especially because, like I said, like I didn't have my dad growing up. It was the system that played a part in that, but I didn't have my dad growing up, so giving him all the opportunities that I didn't have as a child is everything to me, man. So
That's fucking
I
kick-ass.
strive to be the best father I can to my son and my daughter. So
Well, I think you're doing a pretty good job, dude.
thank you, bro.
I think
I
you're doing a pretty good
appreciate
job.
it. Appreciate it.
Before we get out of here, where can everyone find you on social media, and then where can everyone find your brand, how to buy your merch, how to support you?
Yeah, so Facebook, High Speed Warrior, or Instagram, official High Speed Warrior for my business stuff. My link for my personal page is on there too. It's not private, so you can follow it. It's just simple Alejandro Tagle. You can find me on there. I have an X account, but I don't use it that much. So Facebook, I'm mostly active on Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram. officialhighspeedwarrior.com is the website, so you can go in there, find all the cool ass gear, and there's more to come.
Sweet. And then everything that he just outlined will be in the description of this video as well. Dude, thank you very much. This has been fucking cool.
Man. Yeah.
We'll have to do it again. Yeah,
great,
for real. I want to
man.
get you in the same room with fucking Gian. I think that'd be a good podcast.
Yeah, I think we should do it.
Yeah, he's a
That'd
cool
be
guy.
great.
Well, thank you everyone for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.